Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's time!
It's time.
Are you buckled up and ready? I know, I am. Yeah, praise be. Everybody praise be to the Dorito Pope. Praise be. Praise be. Blessings upon the almighty Dorito Pope. The one, the only. The Alpha, the Omega. Jeff Keighley. Of course. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now you're all here. Okay. Housekeeping. We have a couple of housekeeping things, okay? We just have to get these out of the way. Otherwise, I know they're going to come up and people are going to be like, what the hell? And so, why does my shirt look gray on camera? This is a green shirt. Like, it's green, but it looks gray. What black magic is this? This is weird. Like, no joke. This is like a green shirt, but it looks gray on camera. I don't understand. This is breaking my brain. Okay. This, yeah, looks gray, right? It looks gray. I don't know how else to like prove it. It's a new shirt, so I guess I'm just thrown off. Maybe it's not gray and I'm just crazy. Let me see if I can pull up an exact picture of the shirt and then I can show you on screen what it is, what color it is, and it doesn't look the same on camera. Grid mesh, sleeve, what? I don't think that's it. Oh my god, there's so many. I think... yeah, this is it. Okay, like, this is the shirt. It's a green shirt, but it totally looks gray. I don't know what's wrong with the camera, but this is the same shirt. That's what it looks like to my eyes on me right now. But on camera, it looks freaking gray as hell. I don't understand. I don't get it. White balance? It must be, but it's all set to daylight. Like, I haven't tweaked any craziness. I mean, I guess I can check, but it shouldn't be tweaked or anything. Standard white balance. I can manually set it to 5600. Okay, this is manual. Excuse me, Miss Hermione. It still looks super gray. It does not look green at all. I mean, maybe a little bit more now, but I don't know, man. This is madness. This is like that freaking, is the dress white or gold or blue or gold, whatever it was, blue and black or white and gold. But this shirt, man, he's trying to gaslight us. I feel like I'm being gaslit by my own clothing. It's throwing me off, man. Okay, housekeeping items. Like I said, just to get it out of the way, for mods in chat, in all of our chats, just a heads up, people are going to be asking about these, so just be prepared too. And everybody in chat, I mean, if somebody comes in and asks about this, you can just be like, hey, he addressed it at the top. First things first. Yes, it is in fact happening. There is a teaser for Grand Theft Auto 6. The Rockstar posted. Trailer's coming Tuesday, December 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern, which for me is 7 a.m. So I don't know. Maybe we have to wake up early. Will we stream that? I guess we could. Like right at the top, 7 a.m. stream. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, it's probably like the biggest day in gaming. I mean, this post went up at 7 a.m. just a few short hours ago. It's already well over 1 million likes and 52 million views on Twitter. Like, it's craziness. So yes, they teased it. Elephant in the room, that happening. And then as for other stuff, the other elephant in the room is the Suicide Squad alpha playtest. Here's the deal. The alpha playtest, in order to participate, you have to sign, well, you don't really sign it, but by participating, you're agreeing to an NDA to not disclose or discuss it. Even acknowledging that you have played it is breaking the NDA. So, we're not going to be addressing it. I'm not opposed to people expressing their opinions of it, and if they choose to break the NDA, that's up to them. There have been a handful of people on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter who have tried to stream it, who have tried to share pictures, who have been like, not breaking the NDA, but I have some thoughts. That breaks the NDA. Like, just saying what, like, if you are saying like, oh, I had a great time, or if you say I had a terrible time, or I'm pre-ordering now, or I canceled my pre-order, those are breaking NDA. So there's no way for us to discuss this without breaking NDAs. So we're just not going to. Okay. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to come in and ask, hey, did you play the Suicide Squad Alpha? But here's the thing. If I had, I wouldn't be able to say yes. And if I had, I still wouldn't be able to describe what I thought of it. So it's just kind of a waste of time to bring up again, right? Hey, Miney, careful. It's like jumping straight into the wall. Hey, what are you doing? Don't claw the curtain. She knocked over the tree. You don't knock over the Christmas tree. So there's that. As for other stuff, somebody was asking in one of the chats if I have Avatar. Same thing. If I had Avatar and I was playing it right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. And I wouldn't be able to talk about it. So like, there's just really no point in like bringing up that stuff. So just housekeeping, get it out of the way. All of those things, there's no way to discuss them or bring them up without breaking NDAs or anything. So just to be clear on that. As for, I know also Wednesday/Monday, we were saying I was trying to get Assassin's Creed Nexus working for this stream. I did work on it a bunch. I've been trying. I wish I could show you this angle, but we got the new headset in. We've been screwing around with it, trying to get the setup working to be able to play it back here and stream it so it's on screen for you as well. There's ways we can do it with like projecting the screen, but there's a good amount of tweaking involved, and I haven't gotten it to the point where I'm really happy with it. So yes, we'll get there. We'll get there, but I don't think today we'll do it, just because there's some more tweaking that has to happen. But anyway. Hermione cameo, please. Yeah, she's running around here somewhere. Hermione. Oh, there she is. Do you want to come say hi? It's Hermione. Come here. There you are. Hey, baby girl. How are you? Finley's just in the back of the bathroom, just staring at me. Okay. The mod thingy for restream. Oh god. Did we ever even figure that out? I'm not sure if we figured it out. I can share, like, I don't think Restream has mod tools. Relay from each platform, no longer active platform set up in Restream, best will promote to moderators on Relay Sports. Yeah, so in order to like do the moderation stuff, it would break Twitch's Restream or co-stream, multi-stream TOS. So we haven't been able to do it. Other stuff. Let's see. Yeah, we have a Cyberpunk update to talk about. I wanted to touch on Naughty Dog's next game. We'll just circle back to the Skull and Bones thing because people who weren't listening to the podcast might not have heard about it. The Cybertruck was officially unveiled, so that's something we can touch on. There's leaks for, no joke, a Peter Griffin skin in Fortnite. So there you go. If you've ever wanted to play as like buff Peter Griffin, you'll apparently be able to in Fortnite season 5 or chapter 5, season 15 or whatever it is. I have no idea. But that's apparently happening. And there's a bunch of leaks about stuff that's set to be released at or announced, maybe not leaks, rumors and speculation about stuff that's going to be announced at the Game Awards. So lots of stuff to tackle and address. So we'll jump into it real quick. Jake, thank you for the 2 months on YouTube. Luke, love your content. Have you seen that Boogie is back to his old style videos? Wondering how long it'll last. What game are you most excited for? I have not seen Boogie's recent stuff. Boogie, but I'm glad to hear that. I mean, if he's actually doing that, that's awesome. Because I've been saying for like 4-5 years, I would love to watch Boogie again, but he makes it so damn difficult. Gaming deals. Okay. Gaming news. Snubs Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know what he did to his setup, but it's too small now.
Branislav Milovanovic donated 10 euros through Super Chat.
Thank you. I thought I was going to read something, but it didn't. Thank you, Branislav. Hi, everyone. I would like to predict the first few seconds of the GTA 6 trailer that is dropping on December 5th. You will see a 6 and it turns to the first 2 letters of Vice. Have a good one. I could see that. I think, you know what? Maybe we should do this. Everybody in chat, both of our chats. Okay, both of our chats. Put into chat as a record, permanently locked for everyone to come back and see. We'll come back and look at this after the trailer. I want to hear what your prediction is for the opening shot. Do you think they open kind of like GTA 5 with like a sweeping landscape of the city? Do they open with like a alligator? Do they open with a car whizzing past a dirty road? Like, how do they open it? And you know what? Whoever gets it right, if somebody gets it right, I'll buy you a copy of GTA 6. Okay? You'll have to we'll make a note because it's probably going to be like a year and a half after this, but but still, I'll buy you a copy of GTA 6 if you get it right. To be clear, it's the opening shot. So I'll allow I guess just to show you GTA 5 trailer. So just to show you, the opening shot of GTA 5 was the ocean, people in front, and then the whatever lifeguard station, whatever this would be called. So if you were to say, I think it'll open with a shot looking over the ocean with a lifeguard station, you would get it right and we'd allow it. But if you were like, it's going to be of the water, that's not specific enough. Okay. You got to be specific. Okay. That's my exception. That's my one mitigation to the rule. It can't be like, it will be an image of pixels and be like, I technically got it right. Okay. Okay. A pigeon eating food, then it gets run over. That would actually be really, I could see that. Lamar flipping you off. Oh, that could be good. A strip club, beach with palm trees. I could see the beach again since it's Miami. I could see that. I could see that. What's the most Miami thing ever? I was going to say like a homeless guy getting into a fist fight over McDonald's or something, but that could work. Camera swinging through the ocean, showing palm trees and the beaches shown of Vice City.
Donated $5 through Super Chat. I want to see actual gameplay, not just a cinematic.
I think what they're going to do, just like they did it with GTA 5 and they did it with Red Dead 2, it's all in game. So it's not just in engine. It's like actual gameplay shots and cinematic screenshots and stuff. I think they're going to do it too. Mr. Mango Great cheered 1,400 bits. Thank you, my friend. Can you tell like we haven't had bits enabled for so long? That's our old like overlay from 5 years ago or something, when I would stream once every 6 months. But that's crazy. Thank you for the bits. Appreciate you. Luke, I love your content and streams. Please react to this video. I can see about doing that potentially. I will say our standard policy is just to have everything approved by moderators. Miney, careful. She jumped on top of one of the cabinets in the bathroom. I swear to God, if you knock that down. I left the bathroom door open so they could run around and explore in there, but it might have been a mistake. But anyway, yeah, well, I can see if one of our mods can go through it and just approve it first. It's just because we had some people recommending stuff for us to react to on stream that like had the N-word inside of it and stuff, and so they're like trying to get the stream blocked. So our policy is just to have it approved by mods before we react to it, unless it's like from a very well-known source. Yeah, like a Latino party on a beachfront. Oh, I could see that. I could see that. I think they're gonna have brand new weather systems in the game for sure. I mean, they built all of those systems for Red Dead Redemption 2. They have to bring that to GTA 6, right? Like, there's no way they don't. Gonna start showing off Miami locations with the main girl narrating. What do you think the opening line is just the most cringe thing ever? Like, there was that fan-made GTA 6 trailer. Was it 6 months ago? Was it this one? There's one of these that opens like so cringy.
Kinomensky is now a red flag. How do you like working from home with 2 kids? Isn't the best time? Plus your streams, my weeks are great. How is AAA games on the ROG Ally? Did you try RDR2? Oh baby. Okay, so to work through those. Oh my God, there's so many super chats that came in so quickly. Oh God.
Wyatt Rippey donated $5 through super chat.
Oh, and a sneeze. Oh no, the camera turned off.
Correctly predict that
Oh God, I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. Let me reset the camera real quick. It did this the other week too. I'm gonna turn it off. And then I'm gonna turn it back on again. Okay, maybe. It'll work. Maybe. Hey, okay. Professional YouTuber right here. Yep. I don't know why it does that, but it's been doing that recently. Okay, to work through these real quick. Kinemansky, thank you for the 1 month. Booyakasha. How do you like working from home with 2 kids? Is it the best time ever? It is awesome. And like right now the kids are sick, so I was able to just take an extra hour to let Nikki sleep in. And then I took the boys to go get coffee for us, and Lockie got a smoothie, and Ori passed out in his car seat, which is always good. So it's been good. So when I was a baby, I had RSV like my whole first year of life, which is basically like when you have fluid in your lungs and it can make it very difficult to breathe. It can cause suffocation. It's a pretty serious thing. And Orion actually has RSV right now. At least that's what the doctor yesterday said he thought was going on. So he just has a really bad cough and his lungs are all cruddy and stuff, but there's nothing they can really do. Like, they're like, hope that, like, take care of him, make sure he's upright, draining everything, you know, make sure he's staying hydrated and all that. But there's nothing much you can do other than just helping him fight it naturally. Because there's no in between. Like, either you're at home fighting it, or he's like in the hospital hooked up to machines, which apparently is what I was like as a baby. My mom would take me into the ER constantly because I had fluid in my lungs and I couldn't breathe as a 4 or 5 month old. So they would take me in and hook me up to machines so I could get oxygen again. He's nowhere near that bad. He just has like a nasty cough, but we're keeping a close eye on him. So if it does get to that point where it is bad, we'll take him in and let them do what they need to do to make sure he's okay. But the doctor didn't seem that worried about it yesterday, which was comforting. Because this guy really knows his stuff. He's been Ori's doctor since like literally 6 hours after he was born. So he knows his stuff. But yeah, if I just like randomly shut down the stream and I'm like, okay guys, I gotta go, it's probably because something like that is going on and I just need to go and handle that. But yeah, shocker. Turns out oxygen is important. But yeah, it's really great because stuff like that is much more comfortable. I mean, if I was still commuting an hour to work every day down in Denver, I can only imagine like the stress involved with that. It's just, I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at, and I owe it to you guys for making this possible. So thank you. Your streams, my weeks are great. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad that they help. How is AAA games on the ROG Ally? Did you try RDR2? ROG Ally, they run really well. They even run on the Steam Deck as well, but the ROG Ally is like twice as strong. So the ROG Ally, most AAA games that can run on like Steam Deck settings are just very low. It won't be the best experience, but you can play them portably. Let's see. Brenislav, thank you for the 5 as well. Could also see the Vice turning into a VI like Resident Evil does with the last few games, maybe first or last in the trailer. I could see that too. I could totally see that. Thank you for the 5. Brandon Reyes, thank you for the 5 as well. Gonna start with showing off Miami locations with the main girl narrating. Yeah, I think I read that one. Yeah, I think that that's very, very likely how they do it. What do I get if I correctly predict that GTA 6 will be the biggest gaming disappointment in history? I don't know, but what do I get if you're wrong? I think we gotta, you know, go both ways. This is a two-way street. So if you get something for predicting that, I get something if you're wrong. I think that's how we should do it. Let's see. And yeah, Dubs, like I mentioned, I think that they're going to show gameplay. Maybe not like literal gameplay, but probably at least segments from the game. Like with Red Dead 2, I'm not going to hit play because Rockstar copyright strikes their own trailers, which they're one of the very few companies that actually does that. But it will make it so reactions and stuff and re-uploads of their trailers are pretty much impossible to do. But all of this is in the game. Like none of this is stuff rendered separately or cinematics that aren't reflective of the actual game's quality. This is all actual footage from the game. And I remember seeing these clips and just being like, how is this running on a PS4? And I still feel that way. I remember this shot specifically broke my brain. I was like, those look so good. Now it's like, it looks good, but it's not like stunningly amazing. But GTA 6, I mean, you're talking about years and years after this. So what's the leap gonna be like? I don't know. Austin, thank you. Won't let me become a member for some reason. Lol, but have a good day, brother. You're my entertainment while I work. Oh, thank you, my friend. And I don't know why it would be giving you trouble. YouTube's weird like that. I don't know. If you want the perks and stuff, I guess Twitch subs are a thing. And if you have Prime, it's free. But also don't stress it. Like, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Finley works his butt off to pay rent, so we're okay. Oh, and Miss Hermione. You see Miss Hermione? She's just laying right there. Just hanging. Let's see. And Wyatt, thank you for the 5. If I'm wrong, I'll live stream myself playing gaming mill titles to completion with no breaks. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. For those of you not aware, those are the guys that published the Kong game, and they just did the Walking Dead game as well. They're like an actual crappy game mill. They just pump it out. Also, I don't know why our notifications like aren't working. It's really, really weird. Streamlabs alert box. Is this one game cam scene? Streamlabs. I think some scenes have it. Does this one? This is my Warhammer thing. Can you tell? Copy for when I'm building models. I don't think I have it on this scene. Maybe that's why. Okay, paste.
Build titles to completion with no breaks.
There we go. Okay, I'm gonna put this here. So now alerts should work on this screen, I think. I'm pretty sure at least. Okay. Sean, thank you for the 10 Australian dollar dues. Not flexing, but I have a Legion Go, Ally, and Steam Deck. RDR2 runs pretty sweet on Ally, but poor battery and fries the SD slot. Yeah, for real. The Legion has a 1.5 terabyte SSD and no issues. My Steam Deck is collecting dust. Mine has kind of been doing that too. I feel bad because I like the Steam Deck's like ergonomics, but it's just way weaker than the ROG.
10 Australian dollars through Super Chat.
But my question, Sean, since you have both, is the Legion Go noticeably stronger than the Ally, or is it about the same? Because I've been wondering that, but I haven't gotten a clear answer from anybody. So you probably know. Oh yeah, the latest Baldur's Gate 3 patch. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. They basically added an epilogue, a bunch of extra stuff at the end of the game. You get letters from people summarizing what happened after the events of the main story. It's crazy, and it's a free update. Like, it's wild. It's wild. It's the same chip inside, ZZ1 Extreme, so nominally the same. Okay, normally the same. Disk size prediction for GTA 6. What was Red Dead 2? I think I have it installed. I have to be careful showing my screen right now because I have a lot of stuff installed that I cannot share. I do not have it installed. Red Dead. Don't drink my coffee, Finley. Red Dead is 120 gigs. I mean, it's gotta be bigger, right? But that's on PC too. So maybe that's like with the upgraded textures. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna say 120 gigs for the game, but the Ultra HD texture pack, if you want to play it at like 4K or 8K or whatever craziness, is gonna be like an extra 50 gigs or something. Like for the whole thing, probably like 200 gigs. That's what I'm guessing. Snotty Alien, thank you for becoming a show off. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Snotty Alien is now a red flag.
$150 launch and $200 to follow in the months that follow. Maybe. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. Maybe they learned how to compress files by now, CZ James. Maybe. I mean, allegedly some of the stuff they've done on console has been pretty cool with compressing files, so they have gotten better. I'm not sure though. Oh yeah, this was the fan trailer that starts really cringy.
I thought I left my past behind. Should have never moved back to this city. It had been years since I stepped outside. I was tired of doing the same thing over and over again, you know? So I did what I had to do. With this fresh start, my sights were aimed at the top. No obstacle was too big, no risk too high.
Honestly, not a bad fan-made trailer. I've seen much, much, much worse. I'll tell you what. It is really funny to me, just as a concept, somebody making a trailer for a game that hasn't been announced yet. Like, it's just weird to me. It would be like me making a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. It's like, okay, why? Like, what do you get out of that, you know? I don't know. The only thing I'm worried about is the writing. It's the only thing. And I think we'll get a feel for it pretty quickly, but it's the only thing I'm worried about. Oh, I have a sneeze coming. It's sitting like right there. Oh my God. Ooh, that was intense. Don't you hate it when it's just sitting right there and like you feel it about to just blow your brain out? Like, oh man, my goodness. Okay. Oh, that was a sneeze that made me lightheaded. That's a good one. That's the one that's like in the words of Joey Diaz, it's like going to the dentist for free. That's what that was like. Let's see. Cosmic, thank you for your very first super chat. Thank you, my friend. Hey, Luke, I'm Reggie, and I bought a PC off Apex thanks to you. It's a monster like yours. I was wondering if I could reach out for advice and tips. You mean like reach out to me or to Apex or what? I mean, I'm here. If you want to ask any questions, I can try. I will say I'm not like... I do have a good number of people that reach out asking like technical advice or for like PC advice. Should I get this graphics card or this graphics card? And frankly, like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know. That's not my area of expertise. I can offer my like thoughts, but I largely don't. I'm not the best person to ask for like technical advice on that stuff. But if I can try to take a whack at it, I can try. Do you think there will be a release date at the end of the trailer? I mean, for most of this, I'm just looking back at previous trailers to see what they've done. Omnimater, thank you, my friend. So like at the end of the Red Dead 2 trailer, they just gave a timeline of fall, and this was delayed a year. And I think it was the same for GTA 5. No, they didn't even give a timeline. They just gave a straight up logo. So I don't know. I mean, everybody seems pretty confident in Take-Two Interactive's corporate structure that this is probably coming by the end of fiscal year 2024 to 5, which would put it probably holiday season of 2024. Now that's what they're confident with, but as we've seen, they were confident with like Red Dead Redemption 2 dropping in fall of 2017, and it was delayed a year. So you just never really know what can happen. I think they have a lot riding on it releasing at this time, but they probably had a lot riding on it coming out in fall of 2017. So who knows? With like everything that's been going on recently with like every game being delayed, I would guess that this probably gets delayed as well. So I'm not expecting it to come out until like 2025. That's my expectation. If it comes out sooner, awesome. I will be very surprised. But that's just because pretty much everything they've announced for the last 15 years has been delayed at least once. So I would not put a lot of money on it making its release date right off the bat. But again, I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I have to keep my watch on waterproof mode because Orion likes to play with it, and then his little fingers like try to call people on my watch and stuff. It's like a whole thing. GTA 6 will have the most day one release sales in gaming history. I agree. I mean, what I think, and I've said this before, my prediction is that they're going to have a $70 version, which is the standard edition. But I think they're going to do like a week of early access for only like the deluxe edition for like $120. That's my expectation. So I think people are going to buy it in droves in that $120 edition, and it's still going to break records in terms of total sales, because who on earth is going to want to be the one that is not playing GTA 6 the earliest that they could? Like, a lot of people will skip, especially if they're given a heads up, like for 6 months. A lot of people will skip other games over the summer to save up to be able to play it early. Like, I fully expect that a record number of people... Hey, don't scratch the carpet. A record-breaking number of people are going to be paying for early access. And I would be stunned if there's not early access.
Charlie Masters donated £4.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Getting COVID last week was worth it for finding your channel. Binged so much. Question. Bigger disaster of February, Suicide Squad or Skull and Bones?
I mean, frankly, first of all, I'm sorry you got COVID, Charlie. I think I had COVID, honestly, as well. Like, it hit me like a truck, but I'm still a little sick. So I don't know if I have a second sickness or if I am just dealing with like a long, kind of a slow trailing tail on COVID. So I don't know, but I feel you. I think I had it too. But I'm glad you're here now. As for bigger disaster, I mean, I think everybody's just accepted, even within Ubisoft. I think they're braced for Skull and Bones to not do that well. So it probably won't feel like a disaster because it's foreseen. Like, you know, like it's not the same as when they drop Forspoken and they think it's going to be received really well, and then everybody's making fun of it for being so cringy. I think it's going to be a little bit different. As for Suicide Squad, I don't know. I think some people are going to really like the game. The people that like looter shooters, I think, are going to connect with it and have a good time. But I think Rocksteady's core fan base, as I've said for months, is probably not going to feel that differently about it. And like I said, I mean, there's people playing the game right now, and if you really want to know what they think and if you really want to see gameplay, you can find it. And so you can fill in the gaps. But from my perspective, I just don't think it's the kind of game their fans are looking for. So that one, I think, has the potential to be a big disaster, but time will tell. Skull and Bones, I think everybody's just already prepared for it to be Skull and Bones. I mean, what else do you say? It's Skull and Bones. It just is what it is. Let's see. It's going to be like a 5 or 6 out of 10 when it should have been an 8 or 9 out of 10. Honestly, I think it's going to be like, if we're talking about Suicide Squad, I think for some people, because all of these game scores are relative, like a 10 out of 10 for what's like a really niche game, like Armored Core. For an Armored Core fan to give Armored Core 6 a 10 out of 10 just tells you that it is what they were hoping for, right? Like it matches their expectations. But that doesn't give you a lot of information, right? Like if you're not also an Armored Core fan. So it's a score for people who feel the same way to start and have the same biases as the person giving it a 10 out of 10. Whereas like if you only play Nintendo games or Mario or whatever, or Rocket League, you're not going to feel that Armored Core is a 10 out of 10, right? So for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I think it's going to be a similar thing where people who like looter shooters are probably going to give it like an 8 or a 9. I would fully expect that. Rocksteady's a great team, and I think it'll be a pretty good looter shooter. The problem in the debate around this from the very start has just been that this is a game that nobody really asked for, especially not the fans of Rocksteady. So Rocksteady fans are going to get the game and be like, what the hell? I wanted The Dark Knight, but with the Suicide Squad, and instead I'm getting like Destiny mixed with the Division with an Arkham coat of paint, and it's just not what I was hoping for. So it's going to be polarizing. Some people will love it, I'm sure, and a lot of other people will probably hate it. It's just going to be interesting to see how far the scale tips either which way. Hello, that was a very smooth jump. That was well done. That was well done. Let's see. The lighting on those figures looks sick. Thank you, Logan. And thank you for subbing. Yeah, it's...
The lighting on those figures looks sick.
They're little like puck lights I got off Amazon. But yeah, they just sit right up underneath. You can see them poking off there. But yeah, I'm happy with them too. I might get some more.
Jace donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Are you going to have an in-depth review of BG3, or is that one video you have going to be the only one?
I want to do more, and I'm still playing the game. I'm still working through stuff. I have a huge Google Doc of stuff. The thing with Baldur's Gate 3 is that the team, and it's a great problem to have, to be clear, the team has been updating it so much and changing stuff so much. Right as I like finish a section of a script discussing something with like frustrations with how the game ends, for example, leaving a lot of things on cliffhangers, they drop this latest patch that just totally fixes it. And so that whole section that I wrote is no longer relevant. And so it's been like that, where every time I think I'm like ready to talk about it, they fix all of that stuff. And I'm like, well, okay, thank you for fixing it. But it makes it really hard to like make this, figured out. As for like the easiest one and the layup would be to do like Starfield, because Starfield, I mean, it's going to take 6 months to get very, very basic stuff changed. Because it's Bethesda. But I'll tell you what, it's just so hard for me to go back and play that game. Like, not a single drip of dopamine hits my brain when I play Starfield. Like, when I first played it, first 15, 20 hours, I was having a good time. I was like, I think this is the best game that BGS has ever made. I really do. But now, I'm like totally fried. I'm like, I just don't want to play it anymore. Please. Please, dear God. Yeah, I did meet Baldur's Gate. I met him. He was a super cool guy. Yeah, thank you, Logan, for resubbing with Prime. Jim Stonker, thank you for subbing with Prime as well. Omnimater, like I said, thank you. And Tom the Editor, thank you for subbing with Prime. Nikki, also 6 hours ago, subbed with Prime. Thank you for that. Enrique, also subbed with Prime. Thank you for that. Dabworthy and Kappa Claus and Style Junk, all thank you for subbing on Twitch. You all are wonderful, and I love you dearly. Thank you, my friends. Okay. Should we... Let's touch on this. Okay. So, speaking of updates and stuff that's happened, we all kind of... Sorry, Jacob. New segment. So, we all... Hold on, Oh, Jesus. And thank you to Sean for the extremely generous tip, private tip through the link tree. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Poggers to Sean. Okay. New segment. Are you ready, Hermione? Are you ready? She's like, shut up. Don't talk to me. Okay, so as you guys know, Cyberpunk 2077, huge turnaround. They did the big 2.0 update, blowing everybody away. Thank you, Les Pigman, for the sub over on Twitch. Appreciate you. And they've blown everybody away. It's impressed everybody. After the release of Phantom Liberty, though, a lot of people kind of accepted that this was the end of Cyberpunk 2077's updates. This is where the story kind of ends, and we're ready for The Witcher 4 or whatever comes next, ready for that to happen. Well, they did something else too. They have now updated it with 2.1, or they're about to, which adds the metro system, which is something that they teased in the very first trailer of it. More motorcycles and improved motorcycles and tons of stuff. So this is something previously you had to use a mod to get. Hey, kitty cats. They're both sitting right in front of the monitor. So previously I had to download mods to be able to use the metro system, and the mods were really good, and they got the job done, and it was nice for sake of immersion, but it wasn't anything that crazy. But now it's coming through official support. So what they say is, after teasing some hot new additions to Cyberpunk 2077, developer CD Projekt Red has outlined several of the new features coming to the game. And update 2.1, one of the biggest features is the inclusion of a metro system, something that featured prominently in the trailers for the original game and its Phantom Liberty expansion. You'll be able to catch a ride on the Night City transit system and fast travel to one of 19 metro stations, which, to be clear, were already in the game. You just couldn't go into them. Let's see. Or if you want to soak up the neon signs of Metropolis, you can sit down and enjoy the ride. Also something you could do in the mod. Seems like they took inspiration from it, which is super cool. You'll be able to access the metro system after you complete the Konpeki Plaza sequence, the big heist mission in the game, which makes sense. Cyberpunk 2077 quest director Pavel Sasko added that this travel system is designed to be a new and immersive role-playing feature in the game for fans to enjoy. Kind of like taking the coaches in Red Dead 2, instead of just like warping for fast travel, you actually ride for fast travel. I prefer this more, frankly.
Through Super Chat.
Thank you,
Hey man,
Sean.
check Discord messages. Also sent through a PP Dono. To answer, the Legion has a 1.5 terabytes SD that has not melted.
Yeah, because for those of you not aware, my ROG Ally fried a 1 terabyte micro SD card I put in it, because I didn't know that they had like manufacturing issues until after I had the chip fried. So like I bought a terabyte micro SD card to download every Steam game I wanted onto that thing. It was going to be great, and it bricked it. Totally useless. Totally useless. It was heartbreaking. But
Top
yeah, that's
underscore
great.
Willie
I'll check that,
donated
Sean, and thank you for the
$19.99
tip.
through Super Chat.
Thank you, Top.
Hey Luke, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
Loved your review of the Mafia games. Any thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws?
First of all, thank you for the 20. That's stupid generous. As for thoughts on the Mafia games, I love them. It's one of my like hopes is at the Game Awards, or maybe this summer, we see what the next Mafia game is going to be like. Because I thought Mafia Definitive Edition was a triumph. Like that to me, maybe up there with like Resident Evil 4 remake. That is how you do remakes. Like that was the prime example of a well done remake. And so I'm hoping we see what Hangar 13's been up to, because it's been a while. Wasn't Mafia Definitive Edition like 2020 or 2021? I think it was 2020. So it's been a number of years. They probably have something to show, I would think. But I would love to see what they do. But thank you for that super chat. Very generous. And yes, Sean, I will check Discord messages. And I got the PayPal tip, which again, extremely generous. Thank you, my friend. Again, poggers to Sean. Poggers to Sean. Need to try 3. 3 got a lot of hate when it came out because it was really broken, and it's still pretty buggy. But once you get past that initial wave of bugs and stuff early in the game, it's actually a pretty competent game, and I had a really good time with it. Unfortunately, though, and this is like the really heartbroken thing about bugs in games, I guess. Okay, Jacob, I'm sorry. You're going to have to like splice this together or something. I don't know. I'm going to talk about this and then I'll finish talking about Cyberpunk. So just be ready for that. It's going to be like a big gap. Shout out to Jacob for trying to edit around my ADHD riddled brain. So the thing with Mafia 3 is that it launched super broken, right? But it also had a ton of amazing music. Okay? Like tons of amazing music. Like we're talking old school Elvis and like the Platters and stuff. But the game launched so buggy, it was ridiculous. This is from the Krabby Cat video that everybody saw, 6 million views from 7 years ago. It just was heartbreaking because the game had a lot of potential and it just launched so buggy and broken and rushed out that it just never stood a chance, really. However, the game has since been updated since all the music licenses expired, and it's had all of that music from like Elvis and stuff stripped out because they don't have the licenses anymore. And the game wasn't that successful, so of course they're not paying for the licenses to be extended. So if you want the awesome music, you have to play the day one version, which is this. I mean, it's totally broken. Or you can play the modern version, which is much better and much more playable, but you don't get any of the amazing music, which is frustrating. I've heard rumors. I've not done it myself. I have no idea. I've heard in comment sections that there are mods you can get that add back in that music. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure that would also be problematic legally because they don't have the rights to the music, but I've heard that's a thing that some people have been able to do. I don't know for a fact though, but it's just an example of like the suckishness of licensed music in video games, because randomly they just will patch the game that you bought 10 years after it's come out or 5 years after it's come out and strip out music that was awesome just because the license is expired. And it's really, really, frankly, too bad. But what are you going to do? Yeah, man. It's not anywhere near this bad now. Like, I say that it's bad now. It's a little clunky. Like, there's occasionally a broken quest objective that you have to, like, reload to get working right. But it's nowhere near this bad. Like, this is something else entirely. So it's not this bad. Wow. It's just too bad because the world building and the setting is great. They really do a good job. I remember when this came out though, I think it was it Polygon? You guys will have to remind me. Was it Polygon that was talking about how problematic this game was because it was really racist? Because if you don't know, in Mafia 3, this is set in like basically New Orleans, a fictional version of New Orleans in like the 60s. So it's not a super progressive place, let's just say. And there are still like, there's still segregated restaurants and stuff in the game. So like if you're playing as Lincoln and you walk in to a segregated restaurant, the shop owner will refuse to like talk to you and will kick you out. And like they'll call the police to escort you out of the restaurant. And like this is in the game because that's in the setting and that's what it was like back then. But Polygon was trying to say that the game itself was racist for depicting that historical period accurately, which was really, to me, that was just like, do you want them to pretend like it wasn't that way? Then you'd be upset that they're like whitewashing history. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you want? It's insane. It was just madness. I think it was Kotaku. Yeah, it was like, I think they might have gotten away with it by saying it was like an op-ed or something. So it wasn't their official opinion. It was something that one of their contracted writers said about the game. But I'm like, you're still publishing it. Like, that's a really cowardly way to syndicate bafflingly stupid takes and then just get out of it by saying, no, but it's not our fault because they're just paid to do it. Yeah, it's just too bad. It's way better now. It's way better now. I encourage you to try Mafia 3. I think it's on Game Pass. Does anybody know? Mafia 3 Game Pass? At least it was. No, it's only $30 for the definitive edition. I don't think it's on Game Pass. But yeah, I would start with Mafia Definitive Edition. This one for $40. This is amazing. I mean, this one is just tremendous. Like, if you liked LA Noire, this thing is on another level. Like, it's fantastic. Similar kind of setting, environment. It's great. And then you move to Mafia 2, remastered. And then you go to Mafia 3. And like characters from the first game show up in the second and vice versa. And then the third one ties in characters from the second game. It's really, really, really well done. Really well done. Mafia 2 is on Sony PlayStation free games. Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Mafia 2. That one's also great. I mean, it's like set in a sort of a lot of the game is set in winter, so it's very Christmassy. So if you're looking for a fun Christmas game, that's a great one to do. Takeoi, thank you. Or Takeoi. I'm not sure how to say it. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Appreciate you. Mafia 3 is $10 on the PlayStation Store. Ooh, yeah, for $10, I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's a layup. And let's see. Arkham Origins is also a really good Christmas game. You're right. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Jacob. Back to this. Somebody mentioned Mafia, and I have to talk about Mafia. I'm sorry. I have to talk about Mafia. Is the trilogy worth it? All of the trilogy worth it? If you're talking about the definitive edition, the remastered version of Mafia 2, and a modern version of Mafia 3, yes. It's really good. And I encourage you to play them in order. Definitive edition, and then 2 remastered, and then 3. Because seriously, so many characters interweave, and it's awesome to see. There's one really freaking cool thing that happens between Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 that I will not spoil, and you should not want it spoiled. But like seriously, there's so many cool little tie-ins. It's really cool. What's the best Ghost Recon game you would suggest? I don't really know much about Ghost Recon games. I'm gonna be real. I haven't really played a lot of them. If somebody in chat has recommendations, put them in there for takeaway, because I'm honestly not sure. None of them. That's helpful. That's funny. Okay, that's funny. I'll give you that one. That's funny. Okay, sorry, Jacob. Okay, focus, Luke. Professional. I'm a professional YouTuber and streamer. Can you tell? Okay. Continuing. Boss fight changes were also being introduced with Cyberpunk 2077 2.1, with the series Big Bad Atom Smasher getting a substantial rework. I'm not entirely sure what that means. The final showdown with this antagonist was seen as underwhelming in Cyberpunk 2077, but the update 2.1 is going to turn him into a cybernetic force to be reckoned with, who lives up to the legend established in the tabletop source material and the Edge Runners anime series. Interesting. I did feel like the final boss fight in Cyberpunk was a little like, if you had a sniper rifle, if you had some high damage stuff to throw out, he wasn't that difficult. And especially with grenades, it broke it. Like, you just chuck 15 grenades and it didn't really affect much of anything. And then there's like some more waves of enemies that come in, but he was pretty easy. So that's cool to see that they're reworking it. Other small changes coming next week include a new way to hang out with your favorite partners, replayable car races, and revamped accessibility options. Update 2.1 will arrive on December 5th alongside the Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. I mean, they really are adding a new meaning to the Ultimate Edition. Like, for real. Like, normally Ultimate Edition just means like, it's the same game, but now it's full price again. That's usually all it really means. But they are actually like, yeah, I mean, compared to the launch version, totally different. Yeah, GameSpot also did a Phantom Liberty documentary, which is pretty crazy. It's been a mixed year for CDPR, as the studio reported 4.3 million Phantom Liberty sales since its release on September 26th. But the company also saw a 10% reduction of workforce back in July. I do want to be clear with this. This is something... so CDPR has laid off 100 people, citing a need to undergo several deep transformations as it reduces its workforce by 9%. These layoffs happen over several months, with some employees departing the company by March 2024. What they say: after reshaping our development process and incorporating agile methodologies, we're now focusing on refining the shape of our team to meet our own high expectations and ambitions to create the best role-playing games. where we not only want to have the best people, but also the right teams. What we mean by that is having teams that are built around projects' needs, teams that are more agile and more effective. At this point in time, we're certain that for CDPR to grow, we need to be consistent in implementing that approach. According to Kaczynski, CDPR is overstaffed, and those staff members affected by the layoffs will receive comprehensive severance packages. We want team members to have ample time to process and adjust to the change, and we also made sure to offer everyone a comprehensive severance package. The latest round of layoffs comes shortly after the announcement that Gwent's remaining team members had been let go of the company after production ended on that game, while the Witcher game Project Sirius saw more than 25 people laid off after a new framework was implemented. I think the new framework, that has to mean Unreal Engine 5 being used, right? Because there's similar timelines and everything. I would bet that they are probably laying off engineers and stuff that specifically worked on the Red Engine, but I don't know for a fact, but that's what that sounds like to me. But with all this, like, it's one of my pet peeves is when people see this stuff and they immediately go to, this is ridiculous, it's corporate greed, it's blah blah blah. And sometimes it certainly is. It's just like the CEO says, oh well, the board of directors offered me a bonus if I can cut these budgets by 10%, so I'm just going to lay off people and then get my bonus. Sometimes it is like that, without a doubt. Other times, though, it is frankly the case that there are too many people working. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, and the teams are bloated, and they need to refine it. And there is such a thing as overstaffing, especially at these big companies, and especially after periods like COVID, when interest rates were rock bottom, which basically just means like interest rates were effectively zero because inflation was higher than the rates. So interest rates on loans and corporate funding were non-existent. And so they could take out tons of money to hire new people, to build new offices and expand. And money was so cheap, you'd be stupid not to. So they took out that money, and now rates have gone up, and they're realizing, well, now that money isn't free because it's being bankrolled by like the Fed of all these various countries, they're realizing they can't actually afford all these employees. So they're walking all of it back, laying off all these employees. And this is happening not just in the gaming sector, but in every major industry. I mean, it's every company has been affected by this. And it's part of the purpose of raising interest rates is to deal with inflation and slow these companies down, lay people off so they stop spending money and cool down the economy. Like, this is basic economics. But that's why it's all the more strange that people are acting so shocked when they see that companies are laying people off. And in the case of Cyberpunk and CDPR, clearly something was wrong. Like, they had built up a very sizable development force, but with Cyberpunk 2077, something didn't work. Like there was some gap in communication or this or that, who knows, but something was broken. And it seems like they've taken a lot of steps to try and figure out what that is. And part of that is adjusting teams and letting people go. And it's unfortunate for those, but they're being given severance packages, and they're being given ample time to find new work. And that's how a company should handle this type of difficult thing. So they handled it about as well as they possibly could have. Guys, don't fight. Finley was laying there, and I think he warmed it up, and now he's upset that she took his seat. And so now he's mad. Guys. Okay, they're just play fighting. When his tail gets poofy, that's when it's not play anymore. But okay.
BWAG78 donated $5 through Super Chat. What up, Luke? Just curious, what did you do for work before YouTube?
I worked as a commercial real estate broker. So I sold apartment buildings to people. I worked at a sort of boutique style firm. And Sean, thank you so much. Just gifted 5 memberships. Welcome 5 new people to the Red Flag Army. Thank you, Sean. I don't know why the camera just died randomly. You guys saw that? That was weird. But yeah, I worked as a commercial real estate broker selling apartment buildings. And then before that, I worked at a bank. And before that, I worked as like, I worked in retail, like selling TVs and home theaters to people through Magnolia Home Theater, which is now owned by Best Buy. And all the while I was going to college as well. And before that, I worked as a custodian, which was a fancy name for a janitor for a big, like, it was a church / event venue / like homeless shelter. It was just a massive building that previously was like a massive high school that was bought out by a mega church in like the 80s. And then it was converted into a church / event venue. And then they rented out a wing of it to like a homeless outreach program. So I was like the janitor for that whole building for a while I went to community college. And that's my background. Thank you, Remstar, also for subbing with Prime. Appreciate you. And Bradders, PMTV, I'm doing good. Doing very good. Dude, I was a custodian when I was younger for 3-4 months for a huge trucking company. I couldn't do it anymore after 3-4 months. Lol, it was brutal. I think I did it for like a year and a half. Maybe 2 years. I don't remember exactly how long. It was, no, it was probably 2 years, I think. Because it was right outside of high school. It's like my first job after high school. And it worked well because I think it was like 25 hours a week. And it, at the time, for me, it paid a ton. It paid like $10 an hour, which was buku bucks for somebody right out of high school. So I took that job and grinded that out 25 hours a week for like 2 years. And then I moved to Best Buy, and then I moved to Magnolia Home Theater. But yeah, it was good. It was a pretty good job. They were nice. They were kind of crazy, but they were nice. Did you encounter any poop deals or horror stories? Yeah, I was always in the women's bathroom, dude. I don't know. Everybody jokes about men being pigs. I'll tell you what, having worked as a janitor, the women's bathroom was way worse all the time, without exception. Every single time, way worse. Not even close. Like, I don't know if it's just, it's funny because people are like, no, it's the guys that are pigs. I don't know, man. In my experience, having been a custodial engineer, having been a janitor, the women's bathroom was always way worse. And for some reason, I don't know if it was just the old ladies or what, but the ladies like didn't flush easily half the time. Like they just leave it. It was weird. It was really weird. But it was a consistent issue. Like it was just funny to me. Something I never expected, but yeah, the women's room was always way worse. Yeah, I'm eating. Sorry, Fajita. Let's see. As a plumber, never thought I would become a real life Mario. And yes, women are always gross, especially students. Yeah, I just don't know why it is. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but it is it. But I'll tell you what, as a janitor, it wasn't just like bathrooms. I got to do like the buffing, the floor buffing for like those big shiny tile areas. We had one hallway that it had like 4 or 5 rooms. It was a long stretch of a hallway, and it had like the light at the end of the hallway, and it was a high traffic area too. So every like couple months, I would have to go and buff it. And it was one of those things where like we got the big machine, and then you spray like this wax kind of coat gloss thing onto the floor, and then you buff. And as you do it, you see it go from scuffed and just looking like a crappy floor to polished like a mirror. And that was probably the most satisfying thing ever. Like it was like when you clean a bathroom, yeah, it's dirty and now it's clean, but you get used to it pretty quickly. And then you know immediately it's going to get ruined. But at least this, like, it goes from so clearly looking dilapidated to super shiny, super clean. Like, it just was the most satisfying thing ever. Like, I would do that for free. It was just satisfying. Can I help you? What's wrong? If you guys are gonna fight, we're gonna separate you. They're trying to like wrestle next to me. Yeah, okay. Good job, Finley. He's separating himself. I don't know. I think Hermione likes to wrestle like for fun, and Finley doesn't always know when it's a game and when it's not. Like, I think sometimes he starts to take it seriously, and she's like, "No, we're playing. What are you talking about?" Because she'll just lay down and like stick her legs in the air and be like, "Come on, you can't get me down. You can't get me." It's just funny. Ever hop on the buffer and just spin around? No, that thing was insanely powerful. Like, that thing could rip your arm off if it wanted to. I wasn't about to mess around with it. What would Rockstar need to show in the trailer on Tuesday to keep people happy? I think if it's weak, then it might slightly backfire. I don't know. As long as, I think the biggest thing for them is just graphical fidelity. As long as it looks really, really good, the level of detail is really high, and it's just 60 seconds of setting the tone and showing the world. That's all they really need to do. Like, for Rockstar, the expectations are really, really high for graphical fidelity, and that's one of the biggest things that they have to deal with. Guys, see, Miney thinks it's a game. She just like rolls around and wrestles, but Finley, once I see that tail puff up, he doesn't think it's a game anymore. So they just kind of whack each other. But she lays down and is like, she's like the jujitsu master. He's like, come and get me. Come and get me. I don't know what they're just... Yeah, he's ready for war. Finley, I see that tail puffing. Do we need to go separate? Yeah, I think we do. Okay, you're going to go in the bathroom and chill out. Okay? Say bye, everybody. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye, everybody. Okay, go chillax. You little missy, you need to behave too. She's instigating. Which one is Finley? Finley's the big white one. He's the big white one. He doesn't know his own strength. He's big and powerful. And Miney, I think, thinks herself the alpha. She's going to do what she's going to do. But yeah, Finley also has a bad eye, so it kind of evens it out. Is there a chance we see anything new from the Indiana Jones game or the James Bond game at the Game Awards? Maybe. I mean, so I guess we can transition into that. There's been a number of things people have noticed related to the Game Awards. And so, for example, like with this, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 has received an R18+, or basically like an M rating in the States. In Australia, and it received it in October, which seems to be something like, for one, you only get your rating pretty close to when the game is finished. So to me, this would suggest that the game is close to being finished, and that would suggest to me that there's no reason they couldn't show something at the Game Awards, especially because it's been very quiet for a long time. Miney, don't claw. Don't dig up the carpet, please. Thank you. So that to me would suggest we see Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 at the Game Awards. Beyond that, also, Australian Rating Board has also rated Clockwork Revolution as 18+ as well, and South of Midnight as PG. And this is, again, something that only really happens once the game is at least closer to launch than like an early concept trailer and stuff. So a lot of people are expecting this stuff to be shown off at the Game Awards. As for other stuff that we see, I don't know. So hold on. Possible debunking in the replies. Let's see. This classification is not official. This is something anyone can make on the website. It doesn't have an application name, just standard IARC or file number. This, for example, is the first Hellblade official classification number. Okay, let's try to compare these. Live debunking of myself in real time. Okay. Watch out, Miney. I need that mouse. Thank you. Also, thank you, Yokes, for subbing. 24 months. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Thank you, my friend. Let's see. Okay, so this is... Where's the official one? This is the official. Computer games classification... Category IARC. Computer game not specified. Classification number. Alternatives. Variable media type not specified. Category detail. Does anyone know what IARC means? I don't think that's right. I don't think it's International Agency for Research on Cancer. I don't think that's what they're talking about here. Computer games, high impact violence. I don't know. They're saying anybody can submit this. I don't... Portal login. I don't know how anybody would just add this. Like, yeah, it's not an official finalized rating. I don't think that's what's being suggested, though. I think they're putting this for what can be shown in terms of a trailer. You know? I don't know. I hate rancid chicken. I'm sorry, Grady. That sucks. I don't know. It's not clear that this is actually a debunk. I'm not sure. I don't know. But either way, like, I would not be shocked at all if either of these are shown off. As for whether or not we see, let's see, what was the initial comment? I don't remember. Death Stranding 2 at the Game Awards. Maybe. Maybe, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of possibilities, and they're saying, let's see if I can find the other tweet. Where is it? The Game Awards. There's a lot of speculation that there's going to be a lot of new stuff at the Game Awards. Some people are saying that they're totally going to get GTA 6 like gameplay. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that they announce GTA 6 on the 5th and then go and show it on the 7th with gameplay. Like, I just don't see that happening, frankly. Fightin' Cowboy says, my sources say Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree will receive a trailer at the Game Awards. I wouldn't be surprised at that either. Who knows? I don't really know Fightin' Cowboy or his track record with leaks, but that to me is a really safe bet. I wouldn't be shocked at that at all. The Bloodborne thing. I don't know. I think if we ever get a Bloodborne remake or sequel or anything, I think that they would definitely have leaked it by now, because anybody that gets that scoop is going to leak it. Like, if Jason Schreier hears a whisper of it, it's getting published, because that is a layup article. So I just don't see any of this happening. Frankly, I just don't see that happening. But we're hoping to see Gears 6, Perfect Dark, something new and unexpected. Yeah, I think Jeff has hinted at there being a lot of new IP. So, yeah, new games, new teams, and new worlds to share with you. Blue Point Games, I don't know, they're working on something. But I think they've said that Blue Point is working on something original. It's not a remake. It's something they're doing themselves. I don't know if that's true, but they're the obvious guys to give like a Bloodborne remake or a Bloodborne 2. But as for whether they actually get like the rights to that, I don't know. I don't know. Perfect Dark remake. Yeah, that'd be cool. It's weird because Bloodborne still gets comics, etc., but the game is in limbo at this point. I think at this point it's pretty... It seems that there's something going on in terms of rights. Like, it seems like From Software did some sort of contract where they said that they retain the rights to develop sequels or remakes, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe they phrased it as like subsequent entries in the Bloodborne franchise. And they would do that because, if you don't remember, Dark Souls 2 was developed. It was sort of their New Vegas situation, except it didn't go that well. Where in the case of Fallout 3 is made, and then they give the rights to Obsidian, ZeniMax does, to make Fallout New Vegas. And Fallout New Vegas becomes beloved, and everybody says that that is what Bethesda should have done. And New Vegas is the definitive Fallout game, blah, blah, blah. It went really well for Fallout. But in the case of Dark Souls, a lot of people regard Dark Souls 2 as the worst one in the bunch. So, and it happens to be the one that was developed by another team other than From Software. So I wouldn't be shocked if after Dark Souls 2, they negotiated with PlayStation for Bloodborne, not knowing it would be a smash hit, that they retained the rights to do sequels and subsequent entries. And as a result, they can't just give it to Bluepoint to do a sequel or remake or anything, because at this point, the fact we haven't even seen a trailer or leaks or anything about it possibly happening, it's just shocking. Like, we're getting leaks about a potential medieval game from Rockstar Games coming after GTA 6, and Rockstar is one of the most secretive of all of them. Like, it's crazy that we're hearing about that, but now it's just, I think if we were to hear, if we were to get a Bloodborne 2, we would have heard something by now. And to be clear, Dark Souls 2 was developed by a separate team than the Miyazaki team. Medieval game from Rockstar, Grand Theft Horse. Well, let me see if I can find the article about it. It's been hinted at for a long time. Medieval Rockstar game. Where? Oh yeah, you just want to rub against the microphone. So like this, so Rockstar's next game could be the long rumored Project Medieval if latest leaks are to be believed. So they say new rumors suggest Rockstar Games could be working on a brand new IP for next gen consoles or that is set in European medieval time period. While most presume the acclaimed developer is working on GTA 6 for PS5 and Series X after its best-selling Western sequel released last year. When? Okay, it's last updated 2022. Okay, so maybe this is from 2019. I don't know. So they say that there's a Project Medieval rumored to be in development. Description of his current projects. We've touched on this before. Let's see, speculation. Let's see, Reset Era says that they've been in pre-production. There's leaks here. There was a new IP planned to be released between Red Dead 2 and GTA Next, which is GTA 6, known as Project Medieval, though apart from the outline and design and some pre-production, not more is known about it, especially since the whole fallout at Rockstar North in 2014. So it seems that there was some medieval project being worked on at Rockstar North, and then there was some drama that happened in 2014. What drama happened in 2014? Let's see. GTA 5. At the end of the year, they decided to take over this, and let's see. They moved into the building in 2014. After alternation work, okay. Following the release of GTA 5, studio president and producer Leslie Benzies went on sabbatical in 2014 and left the company in 2016. Art directors Aaron Garbut and Rob Nelson took over Benzies' responsibilities at Rockstar North. Nelson later became co-studio head alongside Andrew Semple. And then there was like a lawsuit, unpaid. Oh, I remember this. Benzies sued Rockstar Games parent company Take-Two for unpaid royalties. And for being dismissed without warning during his sabbatical, among several other accusations towards the president of Rockstar Games. Man. Yeah, big lawsuit. I remember that. But allegedly they were working on something medieval related, and then it went belly up at some point. So who knows? Maybe they are working on that. Maybe we do get a medieval game after this. I think that would be amazing. There have been people listed on LinkedIn who work for Rockstar that have posted under their job descriptions stuff like working on medieval architectural style modeling and texturing and stuff for sets within the game. And people have taken that and been like, why would you need medieval architectural design in GTA 6 set in Miami? Why would you need that? So people are inferring that that means he must be working on a medieval type of game for Rockstar, and that might be true. Who knows? I mean, it could be really, really cool if we get a brand new IP for the first time since what, 2010? I guess L.A. Noire, but that was Team Bondi. It wasn't Rockstar themselves. And even technically, Red Dead Redemption was not a new IP. It was a rework of an already established IP. So even that wasn't a new IP. So a new IP would be amazing. I think that'd be super cool. Logan, first time here. I'm glad you're here. Bully 2, maybe. I think a Bully 2 would be a layup, but I could also see them wanting to do a new IP. I mean, a lot of like these creative processes are about retaining talent. And one of the ways you retain talent is by giving them something they can be really passionate about. And frankly, like, I think the generational leap from the 360 to the PS4 for Red Dead 1 versus 2 was huge. I mean, the difference in the quality and scope of those games is crazy. But from Red Dead 2 to what would come out on the PS5 and Xbox Series, I don't think it would be that huge of a jump. So, like, I would expect that we probably see something different. I know some people are just like, yeah, of course, after GTA 6, it's Red Dead 3. That's what they do. I'm not convinced of that. I think they do something different. Your cat is gorgeous, OMG. You hear that, Hermione? They think you're gorgeous. You want to look over here? No, the camera's not focused on her. Look up there. Beautiful eyes. Do you like her little pom-pom? Right there. Her little floofy pom-pom. Oh, that's a good one. What light is yonder, Lamar? Shut that shit off to the Templars. Blow up our goddamn spot. Rockstar Prudence. RTH, Red Theft and Honor. I'd play the crap out of that. I'd play the crap out of that. Oh, or like Dutch plays the Pope. It's like, people, I just need some goddamn faith. Luke, do you know what Dan Houser's working on? No, he founded his own studio and they're off working on something. Who knows what? But they've been working on it for probably 3 years. I think seriously for 2. So probably another couple years we see the fruits of that labor, I would expect. Hogwarts Lego set. I think that was like a couple days. I think it took a couple days. The Titanic took us a couple of weeks. We built it on stream. And I have the I have Gringotts Bank right there, and then a pirate ship we have to make out of Lego. So we'll do that on stream. Maybe we start that next week. It'll be like our Christmas thing. I don't know. That could be fun. Is it possible Dan took Project Medieval with him? No, he wouldn't be able to do that. Well, it's common for these companies, when you work for a company, the company retains the rights to your work. And it freaks people out. People are like, wait, I can spend years making a game or writing something, and then the company just gets to keep it when I leave, even though I made it? Yeah. It's just how working for a creative company works. Like, they have to retain the rights to it. Otherwise, every time anybody left the company, they'd lose the rights to everything. Like, it just would break. Nothing would work. This like coffee got like a film on the top of it. I don't like that. I don't like it gets stuck and it's like you're sucking up a Laffy Taffy. Okay. Thoughts on the Suicide Squad thing? I can't really talk about it. That's the thing, because to talk about anybody's impressions is to break their NDA. And so, like, there's just no way to talk about it in any sort of productive way. So, yeah. I need to get the Avengers Tower because Lifeside Black Panther Metal Bus. I used to collect Lego like crazy. Yeah, Langley, it's fun. And some of these new sets are crazy complicated, like the castle and the Titanic and the Pyramid of Giza over there. There's a lot of really cool sets that they made. But okay, let me close all these tabs. I just have an ocean of tabs. Close that. Close that down. We talked about that. Close that, close that, close that. Okay. Okay. Oh, do we need to... Let's get financial advice from a 12-year-old real quick. This popped up on Twitter. We have to see this.
The 9 to 5 is a trap. You work a job you don't like, you save up all your money for paradise when you get older, but when you finally get older, you're too old to even enjoy it. So yeah, it's a trap. Follow me to escape the matrix.
Wow. Okay. He solved it. This just reminded me of, like, look at all the finger quotes. It's like, yes, I'm 12. Yes, I don't know anything about finances. And yes, I don't know how finger quotes work. It's just like, bro, calm down. Calm down. Oh, the internet was a mistake. I don't know what we're doing anymore. I don't know what we're doing. The youth is doomed. Yeah. No, and then when they get caught, they just say that they're playing a character. Like, I showed you guys that one guy who went on and he just described openly committing credit card theft. He was like, yeah, we go and I sign up for 5 different credit cards under 5 different LLCs. And then I max them out and then I close the company. I close the LLC and I just get to keep everything because the company goes bankrupt. And so the card backs out. And like, he was doing this to buy like Rolexes and stuff. And he very proudly describes this. And everybody in the comments is like, bro, that's credit card fraud. Like, not even a question. That, like, what you are describing could land you in prison for a long time. A long time. And he's like, well, my parody of financial gurus looks like it got you guys. It's like, oh man. Oh man.
A lot of people
What's this one?
ask, why do I have so many vehicles, right? A Porsche, a couple Lambos, a couple Benzes, a couple Range Rovers. Why exactly do we do that? Simply because every month my accountant tells me, Ahmed, you need to spend X amount of money in order to pay 0 taxes at the end of the year. And every single time I buy a 6-figure watch or a car, I can write it off as marketing expenses as a digital marketer. So that is one huge benefit to why I do it. And cars are fucking dope. So be a digital marketer so you can buy stupid shit all the time.
It's not how that works. It's not how that works. The standard has been established in a lot of these things, and I swear we're going to talk about the games and just saying it. But like the standard's been established in court that in order to write something off as an expense, you have to be able to justify it as either helping to maintain revenues or grow revenues. How does owning a Porsche or a fancy watch help you expand revenues? It does not. It sure doesn't. Sure doesn't. And then you're like, I'm a digital marketer, so it's in my videos. Okay, how did this expand revenues? By you driving this particular car? Like, this is tax evasion. Like, these guys always get caught eventually because they're so proud and like they so proudly just go out and say this stuff straight faced, and most of the time they're lying, to be clear. Most of these guys that are pretending like they bought the fancy cars and watches and stuff, they're all on rentals, like, or they go on to like Toro, which is that it's like Airbnb for fancy cars, and they'll rent a fancy car, take a bunch of pictures and videos in it to pretend like they own it, and then they're like, yeah, of course I've got a Lambo, you've seen it in my Instagram stories. You've seen it, but it's always just a rented one. So most of the time it's just straight up lies and it's all just fake, but still. Thank you for the $1 for the tip. Thank you, my friend. Ty Lopez vibes. Yeah, for real. Yeah, you remember that guy who was in all of those YouTube ads for so long selling a course? Yeah, it's always a course. And I'm always like, guys, if they were making this much money, do you really think that they'd be selling you a course to teach you how to do it? What are you talking about? Oh, man. It's a generational thing I'll never understand. You don't have to tape and post every part of your life, especially the crimes. Yeah. No, it's just, yeah, knowledge. Yeah, that was his whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. Bo Burnham put it really well, where he's just like, everybody's so obsessed with performing every aspect of their lives now. And it's so stupid, because if you can live a part of your life not performing, you should do that. Like, performing doesn't add to your life. It takes away from it. It does. And so like, I'm a YouTuber and I perform a lot of my life on camera and my thoughts on games and stuff. But you'll notice I'm not like vlogging our family dinners. I'm not, like, once I stop working and I finish what we're doing here, I shut the cameras off and I go live my life. And there's a separation. But for a lot of people, there just isn't. And they end up being terminally online and miserable because they're like, no, I got this food. Like when I was at that event for Ubisoft, I met some really nice guys. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of amazing creators. And a lot of them were just super kind, and I consider them friends. I do think some of them had a problem with needing to share everything. It was like actively annoying me. There was one guy, very, very sweet. And I told him this to his face, so it's not like this is me talking behind his back. I was like, bro, you have a problem. Because he was like, we were at dinner and he ordered a big fancy meal, very excited to eat it. And he said something offhanded that I didn't think much of, but he was like, yeah, and just like every other Gen Zer, my camera or my phone eats first, is what he said. And he would take a picture of his meal, and then he had to post the Instagram story about it, and then he goes and takes a picture for Snapchat and shares that, and then he goes and takes like the Facebook post and shares that. Like, he's straight up made like 4 or 5 posts before he even ate a fry. I was like, bro, not only does no one care, like no one gives a crap what you're eating, like no one, but also like that is making your life worse, because now you're not eating the meal that you ordered. You're not enjoying it to the fullest extent because you're obsessed with performing and putting this on display for everybody. Like, why? I seriously do not understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought we established nobody cares about food pictures in 2013. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Thank you, Cody.
Cody Green donated $4.99 through Super Chat. Came in a bit late. Hey Luke, any impressions on the new update for Cyberpunk? Also, thanks for the consistent streams. Super entertaining.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you for the Super Chat. as for the update on Cyberpunk, I mean, we'll try it. I'm really excited to see what it's like. It sounds like most of the stuff, except for the Atom Smasher revamp, it sounds like a lot of the stuff they're adding is very similar to what was already in a handful of mods that I played with that added like a metro system into the game and allowed you to repeat races and stuff. So I'm interested to see how they did it and if the mod did it better, but it's really cool that they're adding even more stuff to the game after we all thought it was done after the 2.0 update, but they're just cherry on top for real. Cherry on top. You heard about Elon Musk saying F you to the Disney CEO? Yeah. No, I think I saw everybody freaking out. They're like, what is he doing? He's going to run Twitter into the ground. And that may be true. I mean, honestly, in terms of running a business, yeah, telling your advertisers go F yourself is probably not the best strategy. But I also am so envious that he gets to say F you to Bob Iger and Bob Iger has heard about it. Like, most people never get that chance, but he actually got to say what everybody else on the planet has wanted to tell Bob Iger for a decade plus. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was awesome. And I think it's just refreshing to have somebody that can't just be bought. Like, he has enough money. He's good. He has the ultimate amount of FU money. Like, if he wants to say, go F yourself to his face, he'll say it. Like, he doesn't care. And if you haven't seen the video of it, dude, it is dead silent. It is so awkward in the space, but it's awesome. I mean, it's just like Bob Iger is expected to kind of strong arm him into behaving the way that he's supposed to behave. And he's just like, no, screw you. And it's just refreshing to see somebody like Bob Iger squirm. So yeah. Would I have said that if I were running Twitter, or if I owned Twitter? No. Because if I want Twitter to operate successfully long-term, it needs to make money. And telling your advertisers to go F themselves is not a great idea. But as somebody that doesn't have a vested interest at all in whether Twitter or X explodes, like if it goes away tomorrow, I do not care. I think it's a cesspool largely. But if they figure it out and it runs better, cool. I don't care either way. Like, I really don't. So just to hear somebody say, Bob Iger, go F yourself, I thought was really fun. I thought it was great. Langley, glad to have you, my friend. I'm glad you got to hang out with us live. That's awesome. He doesn't own Twitter, does he? Yeah, he owns it free and clear. Yeah, Elon owns all of X. Let's see. Then there's instances like Lil Tay. Oh, dude, that's a throwback. Lil Tay. Some people really need Twitter like press and journalists. I mean, I don't think the press really needs it. Like, I think TikTok is a way more effective means of transmitting information than Twitter. Twitter currently encourages just raw impressions over quality information, which is why I don't like that they're paying out based on impressions. They adjusted it so, like, if you have a community note attached to the post, it's no longer eligible for earning money through impressions, which I think is a fantastic move. But I've seen it myself, a huge influx of just straight up people lying and making stuff up about, like, gaming news stories about GTA 6, faking with Mid-Journey posts saying it's images of GTA 6 and stuff. Just straight up misinformation for sake of getting revenue through Twitter. And I think that that's a major problem, personally. So, yeah. Anyway, best game of the year for me? I mean, I think Baldur's Gate 3, frankly. Baldur's Gate 3. And Langley, again, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you. Real quick to touch on this, just in case you missed it. Insider Gaming has learned from their sources that Skull and Bones is targeting a February 16th release date of 2024. I can't say precisely why I think this for various reasons, but I've spoken to people who would probably know whether this is likely to move or budge. And I think it's very, very likely that this ends up sticking as the release date. I don't think this gets bumped again. So I would be shocked if it misses this date, frankly. I'd be shocked. So I'm fully expecting it to make this date and to release on time. That's my full expectation. We'll see. You never know. It's surprised us plenty, Skull and Bones, but they apparently are pretty confident. It's being priced at $50. They're also releasing a $15 to $20 premium edition upgrade, which will give extra like cosmetics, probably XP boosts and stuff. We'll see how it does. I think that there's people who play like Sea of Thieves that will probably try this and probably have a good time with it. I think there is an audience. But as for whether that audience is like enough to financially justify this, that's a big question mark. At this point, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on Skull and Bones, and they just need to get it out. I know that they really want to turn a profit on it. I just don't know how they can overcome the negative publicity. Like, it's possible with some games to overcome negative publicity and to explode, but usually there was an initial level of hype, and then it crashed, and then they recovered. You know what we got to do. You know what we got to do. You know what we got to do. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Mayor McCheese donated $4.99 through Super Chat. The reason people have to share everything is because we live in a society where a person's worth is determined by likes.
I agree. We live in a society, but no, I totally agree. Thank you for the super chat. But like if we look at this, No Man's Sky. I'll write it like a human. No Man's Sky. Okay. No Man's Sky. Crazy high level of hype. And then the game, maybe it's even growing. So like as it gets closer to launch, hype is growing. People are so excited for it. They love the idea of it. And then the game comes out and it plummets. People are like, oh my God, this is horrible. This is so much worse than we expected. And then interest in the game is really low, but then they start adding stuff to it and it starts to recover. And all of a sudden, maybe hype isn't quite as high as it was, but it's still very high. Like they recovered in the case of Cyberpunk. So like, you know, again, CP 2077, very similar thing. You know, it starts kind of low, hype gets really high as it gets closer to launch, and then it plummets. And some people are still like, oh, I just accidentally right clicked, which deletes it. Maybe it didn't plummet quite as bad as No Man's Sky because there was still a really good RPG in there, but they fixed it. And, you know, maybe the 1.6 update brings it up here, and then the 2.0 update shoots it up here, and then the 2.1 update brings it up a little more. So it recovers after cratering, right? But with Skull and Bones, it's a different story. So if we do Skull and Bones, I think it's much more like this. I think the interest has never really been that high. And now they're hoping, I mean, it's even bottomed out as time has gone on and it's not gotten anywhere near release. And now they're hoping that the game is just so good, they launch it and it shoots up and is really, really successful. I don't see that happening because this is just recovering for these others. This was just recovering the interest that was already there, showing, look, the game is as good as you were hoping it was going to be, or is at least close to it. But in the case of Skull and Bones, like, you're talking about a game that nobody really has been that pumped for to begin with. And that's the same struggle that like Suicide Squad has been dealing with, where maybe more because it's Rocksteady and it's DC. Maybe the interest level is like here, but it's never been that high. And after the playtest, maybe it goes up, maybe it goes down. Who knows? I don't know what their pre-order numbers are like. But their same hope is that the game comes out and it shoots up and is super popular all of a sudden. And I just can't think of many games that have gone from zero interest to exploding, except maybe like the extremely rare example of like Valheim, or maybe like Stardew Valley. But usually they're like indie games. They're games that explode because nobody's heard of them, not because people heard of them and dismissed them and then tried to come back. Can you guys in chat think of any games that have exploded in popularity that were known about before and just ended up being way better than anybody expected? Maybe Baldur's Gate, but I would argue Baldur's Gate, I still think like Baldur's Gate was in early access and was known by fans of that genre for years before it came out. And then it came out and it hit mainstream. But I would still say hype and interest was like this. But then again, I mean, I guess you could also say that Baldur's Gate 3 is like a game once in a generation in terms of quality and scope. So I guess I think you could probably say Baldur's Gate 3 fits this description. But like, do you think Suicide Squad or Skull and Bones has a Baldur's Gate 3 level of success? Fortnite? Apex just came out of nowhere. Like, I'm talking about a game like Suicide Squad or Skull and Bones that everybody has heard of, everybody knows about. It's a known quantity. People have dismissed it because they don't think they want it. And then the game comes out and is great, and everybody then converts. I don't know if there's many examples of games like that. Because like Lies of P, I think, again, the more people heard about it, the more interested they were. People were interested in that from the start. Fortnite is an example of a game that I think that just exploded. Like, I think that's just, again, a once in a generation thing, and most people hadn't dismissed it. Maybe some people did, but most people, once they tried it, they're like, oh, this is great. Elden Ring, still the level of hype. Elden Ring was always super hyped, and then it lived up to the expectations. So I don't think even Elden Ring would fit. Return on Minecraft. No, Minecraft's always been huge. Guardians of the Galaxy, but even Guardians of the Galaxy, if we go like, I already used purple. What's yellow? If we do like Guardians of the Galaxy, I think like hype was never that high because people thought it was just going to be Avengers again. And then it came out and it just didn't really go anywhere. And then like word of mouth has traveled and it's done a little better, but they've already said that it was a huge financial disappointment. So it by no means exploded like what they're hoping for. So I don't think even Guardians of the Galaxy would count. Armored Core, Chess 2, Despacito, Ghost of Tsushima. No, I mean, again, like we're talking about, we're looking for a game that was everybody knows about and is dismissed and is like, nope, that game's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. Nobody's interested. Don't even bother releasing it. It's a joke. And then it comes out and is actually amazing. You know what is actually a good example? It hasn't come out yet, so who knows? This might not actually have a happy ending. X Defiant. That's a game that everybody was like, this is a joke. It's Tom Clancy X Defiant. Like, what are you even talking about, Ubisoft? And they got made fun of so hard that they had to basically indefinitely delay it and forget about it. And then when it came back and they gave it to like COD pros and streamers, they actually liked it so much. They're like, this could actually, I would switch from Call of Duty to this. So I think you could say that. I think you say that. Fortnite, again, I don't think people heard about Fortnite and were dismissing it. Were they? I don't know. Your prediction for Starfield on this graph? I don't know. Starfield, I think, for a lot of people, if we just do Starfield, I think very similarly, levels of hype were just insane. Even though hype makes you stupid. Most of the people in here knew that Starfield was probably not going to be the second coming of Todd Howard, but I think it came out and it was a slower burn. Like, I think for some people it dropped off a little sharper, but for a lot of the fans, it's been a slow process dropping down. And now you see hardcore Starfield and Bethesda fans that are like, nope, the game just isn't very good. And that's the thing on those Steam reviews where it's like 90 hours, 150 hours played, and they're not recommending the game. So I think it's taken them a much longer time to accept that it didn't live up to the hype. But now it's floating around here. Maybe with an expansion they can recover some. But for Starfield, I think the level of changes required are so vast, I don't see it happening. I'd love to be wrong, because a lot of people, and I probably even said this back in 2020, I didn't expect them to fix Cyberpunk the way that they have. I know they said, like, yeah, we'll work on it. We'll get it to where it's supposed to be. It took 3 years, but they did it. I'll give them credit for that. They did it. So maybe they're able to do it with Starfield, but I would personally expect them to just make incremental changes, maybe some improvements, add mod support on console, stuff like that. But I don't expect Starfield to really change that much. I think it will always be kind of like a fun experiment that just didn't pay off. That's my expectation. Battlefront 2015. Has it had a redemption arc though? I don't know. Bloons TD6. Dude, I love Bloons TD6. I'll tell you what. I love it. But anyway, so with all of this is just to say, I don't see a scenario where Suicide Squad or mostly Skull and Bones, because Suicide Squad, at least there's still a base level of interest where like this might not be game of the year levels or record breaking levels of engagement, but if the game is good and Destiny and Division players play it and have a good time, it could get to a decent level of success. You know, this is nothing to scoff at. It's not Baldur's Gate 3 levels of hype and love, but it's still enough to be a successful live service game. So it could be successful. I think Suicide Squad could get there. I think core Rocksteady fans will be disappointed still. I don't think that's going to magically change, but they could get there. But with Skull and Bones, just being dead honest, I don't see how this skyrockets up to the level where it needs to be to recoup hundreds of millions of dollars. Even if it's really, really good, even if it's the pirate simulation game we've all been praying for, which as far as we know right now, it's not, because people have played it in play tests and know that it's not. Dude, my hair is insane today. I need a haircut. I was going to try to grow out my hair and go like full Jesus mode. I think I'm going to give up. I'm going to tap out because it's just too shaggy. I can't get through the awkward phase. Like, what is it doing? What is that? What is even happening right now? I think I'm going to tap out. I'm sorry. I think I'm going to do it. No, do it. I don't know if I have the strength, guys. I don't know if I can do it. Trust the process, man. Dude, I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. Man, it's so shaggy. Oh man. Grease it up. Oh, I could do the full on, like, Italian car salesman and just slick it straight back. Yeah. Oh, I just took off my headphones like Nadia. Like that. That's a good callback. That was good. That's good. Anyway, I don't see this happening. I would love for it to be a good game, but I don't think it's going to be a business success anytime soon. As for all of these other games, Suicide Squad is one I'm very, very interested in. That's one it's like a car crash I can't look away from. I hope that they pull it off. I hope these alpha tests are going well and players are enjoying it. Like I said at the top of the stream, if I were playing it, I wouldn't be allowed to talk about it or say that I'm playing it. So there's no point in really delving into that. And beyond that, even if I were playing it, I couldn't talk about my thoughts on it. There are people that have leaked their opinions, people that have posted stuff to Twitter and stuff, which breaks the NDA and could get your entire channels nuked and everything, which is just really, really stupid. So just don't. Maybe I'll think about it. Maybe we'll talk about other people's statements about their time with the alpha. If they want to break their NDA, that's up to them. I don't know, but I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Make up my mind. Pomade your hair like Arthur. Oh, I could do that. Slick it back. Be like, oh, I got all cleaned up and pretty like. I got all pretty like. Everyone make the commitment that if Luke Stevens live grows his hair out and his beard out for a whole year, we will all donate $10 on December 1st, 2024. Dude, it's just, it's the thing is, I can deal with like the longer bangs and stuff. Like I can deal with longer bangs as it grows out. That's not a problem. But what I struggle with is like the straggly, frizzy hair. It's just, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know, man. I've wanted to do it for a long time. I was like, I should just finally do it because I feel like everybody needs to grow their hair out at least once just to try it. But I don't know if I can do it, if I can go through with it. I just don't know. I don't know if I have the strength. Maybe I do. Embrace a mullet. Dude, I can't do a mullet. I saw a picture of my dad with like a permed mullet back in the 60s or not 60s, 70s or 80s or something. I don't know if I have the strength to withstand that. I saw that picture. I was like, what were you thinking? But that's another whole thing. A lot of people have been saying that they like the mullets are coming back. And that's when I just, man, I honestly don't get that. The mullet, I just don't get the look of it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Okay, real quick. I guess we can close out with this. Dom the Bomb posted a video saying an update from Neil Druckmann. Hold on. Please hold. Let me share this with everybody. Please hold while I share it. My girlfriend likes my pseudo mullet. Is she one of those that likes to grab the hair? I've known girls like that. They like to have something to grab onto. So that when they just slap you, there's a handle. Good for you. Good for you, man. Good for you. I'm sorry. During what? During dinner? Lunch? I don't know. I don't know what you do. What do you think about the Cyberpunk update coming up? The Kane, I think it looks great. I think it looks great. We can try it on stream when it drops. It drops on the 5th, which is the same day as the GTA 6 trailer. So we'll see. Yeah, you can get it slapped whenever. I won't judge. Yeah. I won't judge you. Do whatever you got to do. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. I'll shut up. Okay, this is from Dom the Bomb. Last of Us 3? An update from Neil Druckmann? Naughty Dog. I don't know what this means. Let's see. I've been eagerly anticipating and waiting to hear what's coming next from the one and only Dog That Misbehaves. So let's hear what they have to say.
You do this to me. You know how much I sacrificed? Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
All the memes.
I don't need it.
If this is the whole video, I swear to God.
I need it!
Okay, no, that was just the intro. Okay.
Well, we have news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Dom, you got to update your tag here. You're doing way better than 244. You're at 374. You just dropped 100. You forgot about 130,000 subs, man. You're doing great. You got to update that.
Back to the channel, and I'm back for another video discussing The Last of Us Part 3.
It's really quiet.
So as I've been doing, covering the last couple of years, we've been discussing the potentiality of The Last of Us Part 3. About 2 months ago, my most recent video discussing the game, we had gotten some word from Neil Druckmann on the status of the potential project. When he stated,
Is it too quiet for you guys? It's really quiet. Is it too quiet for you? I can try to download like an extension to boost it, but it's very quiet for me. Hi, can I help you? You want to watch? A bit, yes. I'll leave these on. We'll see if we can deal with it. Jacob, in editing, you might have to go in and boost his audio, and I'll just try not to talk while he's talking.
can't say anything about the next game at Naughty Dog. My comms director over there will slaughter me. And that he's working on his own project. Now, we've known for such a long time on this channel that Neil Druckmann has a game in the works. Multiple leakers, in particular Viewer Anon, who is pretty credible when it comes to their leaks, had discussed this next project as The Last of Us Part 3. And Neil Druckmann, if you guys are aware, he flip-flops. Never a consistent answer. He's never straight out said Part 3 is happening, but at the same time, he's never straight out said it isn't happening. He's had a lot of, you know, left, right kind of answers. One day it seems like, oh yeah, we might be making it. Next day it's like, it may not be happening. He seeds doubt in a lot of people's minds. He's done this with Part 2. I wasn't really covering the game up until pretty much its release, but I had heard stuff, you know, from people that covered it and watched videos back in the day, that this is common for him to do. And I don't blame him, considering the games have been leaked. You know, Part 2 got leaked, Part 1 remake got leaked. I mean, even the recent remaster got leaked hours before it got announced officially.
Apparently it's because they used a lot of contracted work. So, like, the famous Last of Us Part 2 leak was from a contracted worker who, it's not exactly clear because they never followed it up, but it sounded like they didn't get their contract renewed or they were not brought on for a full-time job. And so they became disgruntled and decided to leak everything, throwing a fit, basically. Which is not how you get hired. They're not going to change their mind if you do that. So ran into some trouble with that. But I think I understand Neil being cagey with it. I just think, like, for these guys, they just never really know what to say or what not to say. And the other thing that makes this really, really complicated is, like, for these guys, they're working on these games for years. It's all they're doing day in, day out. It's what they do. And so when they go and speak publicly, it's got to be very difficult to figure out what they're allowed to say and what's not approved. Because for them, they're like, oh, well, we talk about this thing all the time at the office, but I don't think the public knows that, so I can't do it. And I've run into this with like that Avatar preview event thing that we went to a few weeks ago, where they shared a lot of information with us. And one guy definitely overshared. He said stuff he was not supposed to say that had not been approved by PR. And they had to follow up and be like, hey, can you not mention that stuff in your stuff? Because that would probably be spoilers. So For him though, he was just like expressing his thoughts on the game, and he was like, yeah, I think this is public knowledge, I think. And he just said it, but it was not public knowledge at all. And then we get that information, and I'm trying to decipher, and I have a list of all this stuff to keep track of it. But like, there's stuff that the public is allowed to know, stuff the public currently knows, and stuff that the public cannot know, and that is considered not accessible. So it's very, very difficult, I think, to toe the line of what like public, what is allowed publicly. And for somebody like Neil Druckmann, who knows everything about all of these projects, I can only imagine the headaches involved with like, oh my God, what am I allowed to share? What am I not? I can understand why he'd be like, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything. We're just going to keep it easy. That's the easiest way to get around all the trouble, is to just not say a freaking thing. Easy. Why do you think I didn't do? Because like for the Avatar event, they had information that was allowed to be shared the day of the event, and then information that we were allowed to share after the embargo on the 28th of November. I could have made a video the day of the event and then on the 28th, but then I'd have to juggle all the information that I was allowed to share like before embargo and then after. I'd have to juggle that. I was like, screw it. We're doing one video. Once the embargo lifts and I can talk about all of it, then we'll be okay. It's just, sometimes it's easier to just not say a thing and just go with that.
So once again, someone asked him about The Last of Us Part 3. With season 2 of the show coming up, filming is supposed to be beginning, I believe, in either January or February. So it is starting up pretty soon. The show is supposed to come out sometime in 2025, the second season. And now we got The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered officially announced, which I told you guys in the last video was likely coming, and now it's been officially announced. So that is even more of a telling sign to me that Part 3 is definitely coming. They've kind of set up a painting in my mind. Part 1 remake, Part 2 remaster, and then what will be next? Part 3. We're gonna go through Neil Druckmann's.
Yeah, which again, to be fair, makes a lot of sense. Hello, Mrs. Babe. What is it?
Just chug it.
Just chug it. Is it pee?
Yeah, how'd you know? Why are you making that face?
Because it's pee. No, it's not pee.
Because it's quite delicious.
Is that like cider?
No, that's
tea?
just, I squeezed lemon juice into some warm water and put a little honey in there for the throat.
That's good.
Lockie's sipping some right now.
Oh, Lockie's sipping some? That's good.
The straw is for the acid, because you don't really want acid and hot on your teeth.
Yeah, for real.
But, okay.
Thank you. Are they doing okay?
Yeah.
Is that no?
Yeah.
Miney and Finley were fighting, so Finley's in the bathroom.
Why did Finley get put out?
Because he was the one that was
He was the instigator?
trying to smack her around. She thought it was play, and he did not. He was starting to be like, okay, now you're pissing me off.
When we wrestle.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this isn't a game anymore. Now I'm mad. Okay. I love you.
Yeah. I don't know if your throat's hurting or not, but that was...
Well, that's nice. It's probably always good, especially with me blabbering as much as I do. Everybody wishes you well, except for the people that think you just poisoned me. So. She looks really guilty right now. Uh-oh.
No, I love you.
Love you too.
Love you.
Stay strong.
Love you.
Hug my boys. Yeah, she might want to go up. She might be hungry. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway. W wife, yes.
Statement, my thoughts, and some of the other recent hints we've gotten. If you guys do enjoy, drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Join about that near 30% of people that are subscribed by hitting that red.
Oh man. Not subbed. So he has 42% of his viewers are subbed. I think something crazy for me, it's like 82% are not subscribed, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing. I mean, I guess you could say, oh, your videos have a broad reach. So it's a lot of people that are not subbed are seeing your stuff for the first time. And so it helps you grow. So I guess that could be good, but yeah, it is surprising, you know, because like this stat is crazy. Like 42% is a very good turnout. tell you what.
Subscribe button, hit the notification bell, have it set to all,
9% is also really good. He's got good stats. I don't know what is his usual video. I mean, what this could tell me is that maybe his views are not super high. Yeah, so for a 300 sub, almost 400,000 sub channel, the view counts are not crazy. So that makes sense. I mean, it's more, his stuff is appealing to his hardcore base, which makes sense.
The Last of Us or Naughty Dog. And be sure to join our Discord, follow me on Twitter, stay up there, our social media down below, link in the description.
He is very good at the calls to action, though, I'll tell you what.
So join up, come say hi. We go over 2,500 likes. My last video almost hit 3,000, so we go for 2.5K. Really appreciate it. And I do appreciate your guys' support on these videos. Let's get straight into it. Actually, the statement from 2 months ago that I just...
It is funny. This does remind me of videos I used to make where it's like, let's get straight into it. And I'd say that after 3 minutes of the video. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, it's not really straight into it. So one of my, like the biggest epiphanies I had as a content creator was when I just decided, like, for these videos, just like get right into it. Just like stop beating around the bush. Just get into the video. If they clicked on the video with that title and thumbnail, they don't need the preamble. They're down to watch it. Just like start the video. Just get right into it. So we've tried to do that a lot more, and it's helped the videos perform way better too. And Treble Champ, thank you for the 10 pounds. About CP 2077, Agile is the name of the framework. Oh, okay. I do it as a job. I'm an Agile coach. It's a way of working, 6 years experience. Oh, that's super cool. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought they were just saying we need to be more agile in our work, but no, that makes a lot more sense than that. So thank you. That's super cool. Let's see.
Talked about at the beginning of the intro. That was from Entertainment Weekly. They interviewed Neil about 2 months ago. So they decided to interview him again. Maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dom. I wanted to watch the video, but I think it's just too quiet and the music's too loud. I don't think we can do it. So I'm sorry, Jacob. You'll have to rework this. We'll do a fresh intro and we'll just look at the article ourselves. Again, sorry, Dom, but the audio is just not balanced where we need it. Okay, let's just do this. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. Ugh. Are you ready? Okay. So, the one and only. Oh, sorry, Jacob. New segment. Neil Druckmann, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that a lot of people hate because he's not like them. Because he used to have long hair, now it's short. I think he looked way better with long hair. I mean, come on. Short hair, anybody can have short hair. He had long, fluming locks, and he cut it for the dad haircut. And it's just, as a dad, I'm telling you, bro, go back to the long hair. I'm working on growing my hair out. We'll see if I'm strong enough to maintain it and to persevere through the awkward phases. But I'm like, you gotta, once you have those luscious locks, you gotta own it, man. Like, he looked like a lion as the king of a pride, and then he got rid of it after The Last of Us Part 2. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. Anyway, not relevant to what we're talking about, but he did an interview with Entertainment Weekly and discussed like emotional elements of Part 2 and the intense fan response to the game. And I'm actually working on a video that'll be out in the next week or two on The Last of Us Part 2, because I view it as like one of the most interesting video game releases in recent memory. It was just, not only was it wildly impressive in so many ways, but it also was horribly disappointing for a lot of other people. And it was very polarizing and controversial for various reasons, some of which were just totally constructed and made up. Others were very, very valid. And so it's just a fascinating smorgasbord of weirdness and extremes. And that's why I find it so compelling, I think. But in this interview, he kind of discusses it from his perspective, which is really cool. Because, I mean, again, the initial wave of negative attention that came to The Last of Us Part 2 came from a leak that happened from what seems to be a disgruntled contract employee. And it included some story details that were accurate and many that were not. They made some stuff up that was just not factually accurate. They said that Abby, for example, was actually like trans, and they said other things like that half the game was played from Joel's perspective, and like there was a lot of stuff that was not accurate in those initial leaks. And some of it was, you know, the golf sequence, let's just say, was accurate, but there was a lot of misinformation in there as well. And I was always curious. I mean, some of the stuff was just made up, and I'm sure that was part of it. Other things, and we've known that this is the case, a lot of these companies will intentionally plant varying information into different teams to figure out where certain leaks are coming from, which is always just fascinating. Let me see if I can find the original story. Catching leaker. I think I believe this was it. So like Elon Musk famously had an example of how he had employees at various companies that were leaking information. In some cases, it was like for Tesla. Other times it was for other companies he was running. But what he did is that they sent what appeared to be identical emails to everybody in the company or within certain teams where they thought the leaks were coming from, but each was actually coded with either 1 or 2 spaces between sentences, forming a binary signature that identified the leaker. Because what the person would do that leaked it was that they would just copy and paste like this, copy the text from the email and leak that to the press, and then the press would copy it and paste it and post that. And so when they went back, they would Tesla or Elon and his team would then look at the sentence that was copy and pasted, and then like, oh, there's only 1 space here and there's 2 spaces there. Okay, interesting. It was definitely this guy, because this guy was the only one that received that series of spaces in that order. And so they were able to catch him. And they do some of this stuff within game development, as I understand it as well, where they will tell certain teams certain information about, say, the story, or they'll say like, oh yeah, this is project codename door frame, and project, they tell another team, this is project orange box and project water bottle, or like they'll just make up various code names. And then when there's a leak to the press and Jason Schreier reports, yes, they're working on a game that's allegedly codenamed Orange Box, right off the bat, the executives know it's somebody on this team because they're the only ones that were told Orange Box. So it's somebody there. And then they can investigate further, probably pairing it up with information and techniques like the extra spacing in the messages to tell which signature is from what. So they have ways of hunting these people down. It's never as simple as just like, oh, they put a watermark on the picture, oh, they got you. Like, no, there's so many little things that they do to trick you. It's crazy. Yeah, it's very Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's very Game of Thrones. So yeah, it's crazy. But with all this stuff, there were tons of leaks with The Last of Us Part 2 leading up to its launch, some legitimate, some not. And I always wondered if the parts that were wrong were planted by the executives at Naughty Dog that helped them track this down, or if it was just somebody making stuff up, because most of the stuff they got wrong was very, let's just say, like very politically motivated and very hot button issues and stuff that they knew would rile up like 4chan and stuff. So who knows? But point is, there were all sorts of stuff. And after these leaks came out, there was a lot. They go on, or they say, the developers at Naughty Dog strategically edited the trailers leading up to the big drop in order to omit characters from certain scenes and preserve the twists. Even in some cases, there was a scene or a trailer. It's the one where Joel goes, You think I'm going to let you do this yourself? And he's not in that scene. In the final game, that is not Joel in that shot. It's not. So they straight up just lied. And I mean, they used a section of the game, replaced characters, and put somebody in. And it's because they didn't want that thing, that event that happens with that character to be stolen, you know, or to be leaked or inferred beforehand, not stolen. I'm talking so much about theft that it's just on my mind. So when players finally got to experience those surprises, the reactions ran the gamut from high praise to death threats lodged at co-creator Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog's co-president and head of creative. I can only imagine. I mean, I deal with stuff like this when I say like Starfield isn't very good. I can only imagine what he would have to deal with if he puts out something really controversial like The Last of Us Part 2, and then, you know, he's like the face of it. I can only imagine. So then he reflects on it. He says, quote, "The release of The Last of Us Part 2 was a deeply emotional experience for all of us at the studio, and we're so proud we could tell the story we wanted to with it," Druckmann writes over an email when asked about those fan reactions. Quote, "It's ultimately up to fans to decide what does and doesn't stand the test of time, but in the years since its release, we've been continuously blown away by the outpouring of love, support, and acclaim for a game that means so much to Naughty Dog. Seeing fans intensely react to the story as more and more continue to discover it, and we hope that includes many more with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, is a wonderful reminder of the power that the stories we tell can have. The impact players have told us these games have on their lives continues to inspire us as we work on future games." I will say, and this is something I will always defend The Last of Us Part 2 on, what they decided to do was a very experimental thing. It was very different. It was very strange. And I find it very refreshing in an ocean of pretty samey game stories. And it was basically like they were trying to tell a story where you think you know who the bad guy is, and then they flip the perspective. That's really what The Last of Us Part 2 is about. It's about questioning, like, the heroes that we call heroes, are they really heroes, or is it just that we've been following their perspective, so we are rooting for them? When in reality, if you look at it objectively, without any emotional attachment, they've done horrible things, and maybe they're not the heroes. Maybe the people that we assign the tag of villain are actually the heroes in the broader story, but it's just because of our perspective that we attribute the title of hero to these characters. And the best example is just that Joel literally single-handedly potentially damned mankind in that universe by choosing to take Ellie and rob her of the choice to sacrifice herself for the sake of a potential vaccine to save humanity. He robbed her of that choice, and in turn robbed humanity of a potential vaccine to fight this virus that had basically ended civilization. That's on him. If the perspective were changed, which is what the latter half of The Last of Us Part 2 does, you view Joel as like this maniac who killed dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of people, all to save this daughter, basically, is who she was to him, but in turn damning humanity, basically. And so they view him as the villain, maybe a motivated villain with like good intentions of saving his daughter character, but still pretty horrible guy, right? Now, I think there's a lot of problems with how the story is told, and this is something I've discussed in like the critiques and stuff and commentary videos I've done on The Last of Us, where like the biggest problem, and to be clear, this is not just me, there's the biggest problem, and this is something a lot of people have talked about, is that the Fireflies are not like a very capable group. If you play the first game, the show does it a little bit better, but like you're talking about a ragtag group of rebels that are in a position of being very much underdogs. They are not in a position of power, and they are being entrusted with like the potential cure to the virus, but they also have to kill her to extract whatever has allowed her to be immune to the cordyceps fungus. And so potentially, like, if they don't really know what they're doing, they just blew their one chance at a vaccine. So it's reasonable perhaps for Joel to not trust them. I would say like the writers clearly wanted to imply that like if they did the surgery and killed Ellie, they could have made the vaccine and it was pretty locked and loaded that this would happen. But I think a lot of the extra stuff on the side doesn't really support that conclusion, even though that's clearly what the writers were going for. But little stuff like that can introduce questions of whether the Fireflies should be trusted actually, right? But still, it's very, very, it's a compelling concept for me at least, and for a lot of other players I think as well, to hear or to see a different perspective and realize that maybe our heroes are actually the villains and it's just our perspective that puts them in that position, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that makes for the best video game. Okay? Like, and this is the thing. And it also does not mean that the fans will be that in love with the idea. The negative reaction to what happens in The Last of Us Part 2 is a testament to how well the first game worked in making you fall in love with Joel and Ellie as like a team. So in a way, it's like a big compliment to the team at Naughty Dog that the reaction was so polarized and so many people just hated it. I had a friend who, to just put it in perspective, and then I'll catch up to all these messages, I swear. He is one of those guys that just like does not like sad stories or stories that end with like a ponderous ending. Like he likes stories with a happy ending where everybody goes off and is happy. Like that's what he wants out of a game. And so like La La Land, he hates La La Land because La La Land, as the title of the film suggests, does not end super happy. It ends because they're all in La La Land and they're all just selfishly chasing their own dreams, even if it screws over the people around them, because that's Hollywood, baby. That's how it works. And so when he played The Last of Us Part 2, he was like, this is not like the kumbaya happy ending he was hoping for. And so he just decided not to play it. Or not to finish it once he heard how the story was ending. And he was like, I don't want to experience that. I know what I like in a story. I'm not going to like that. So I'm not going to mess with it. And a lot of people I think are like that. Ooh. I personally, Ziggy, I agree. I like the ending of La La Land because I think it's very true to the source material, but I understand also why a lot of other people don't like it. Let's see. Let's see. Mimi, you're fine. If you watch La La Land and you don't know how the movie's going to end 10 minutes into it, I have no sympathy. And it's also like, what, 4 or 5 years old? Like, you're fine. Let's see. Let me catch up on all of these. Let's see. We got 5 from 3MG. I'll be honest, Anita Sarkeesian involvement in the industry caused a lot of story switching, but I give them credit for still making a great game. Yeah, they were very buddy-buddy with Anita, but Anita now has like disappeared off the face of the earth. I mentioned before, I was actually working on a debate. I was talking with Modern Day Debate to do a debate with Anita Sarkeesian, and a bunch of stuff happened. It fell through. She backed out, didn't want to do it. And this was like maybe the end of last year, I think. I think it was like this time last year is when we were talking about it. I was like, oh, she's still in the game. She's still like around doing stuff. I thought she had completely disappeared, but they apparently got a hold of her, and she had a handful of requirements and then backed out, which was just, it was funny. Because I was like, I'll talk to her. Like, I have no problem with that. And then the people that they followed up with, like, there was one lady that was like, I'm actually worried that she's not okay. Like, she was very unstable. Not dropping names or anything, but like, this was a lady that I would not spend time with if I could help it. She was not okay. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna, I mean, it might make for a funny viral debate with a lot of funny clips, but I don't really want to profit off of her instability. You know, it just felt weird to do, but yeah, it fell through and nothing ever happened, unfortunately. That would have been a wild collab. Yeah, it would have been fun, I think, but what are you gonna do? Hold on, let me pull this up. Let's see. Peaks and Valleys, thank you for the super chat. The 99 Czar, thank you, my friend. There's a very symbolic moment where Ellie was surrounded by fireflies very early in the game, which tells me fireflies was the right choice. Yeah, I think they do a lot of symbology with that. And like I said, I think the writers clearly were trying to suggest that this would likely have led to a vaccine. And then in The Last of Us Part 2, they heavily suggest that this was like a slam dunk. But I think if you're paying attention to the story, it doesn't feel like that when you're actually playing it yourself. Whether that was intentional when they were making the first game or not, I'm not sure. Let's see. Evil Morty, thank you also for the 10. If they called it director's cut instead of remaster, people's reactions would probably be different. I'm personally really looking forward to the remaster. I'm excited. And honestly, the $10 upgrade, I think, is extremely fair. I think the $70 for a remake that wasn't very noticeably improved was a big ask, but a $10 upgrade path for people that already own it, I think, is more than fair. And I have no question there. Like, I think no complaints, no questions. I think it's totally fair. So yeah, I agree. Evil Morty. I think director's cut could have been cool. I think director's cut for a remaster title, because they're adding in lost levels and stuff, I think that would also be a very fair way of naming it as well. Let me keep catching up. Iconic NZ, thank you also for becoming a show off. Ooh, baby, that's the higher tier membership. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Welcome. And Jackson, did you see how CDPR is releasing another major update for Cyberpunk 2077, which will bring Metro, races, and BG3 got an epilogue with more content? Yeah, it's all crazy, man. I thought Cyberpunk was done getting updates, and then they're dropping even more stuff. It's fantastic. And then Baldur's Gate, another patch that brings like another 3,000 lines of dialogue and an epilogue and all sorts of stuff. It's just crazy. I mean, as if Baldur's Gate 3 was not already amazing. So it's crazy. Continuing to catch up. Sorry. Odin Arrow 28, 9 months of membership on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. I'm a few minutes behind, but thank you for being a legend. Oh, thank you. You're a legend. You scratch my streaming itch. Makes work go by so fast. I almost said it very, very Irish. Makes me work go by so fast. I'll tell you what. Thank you, my friend. And then over on Twitch, thank you to all of the new followers as well. Appreciate you. FM Belch. Everyone's rocking and rolling. Glad to see you are here. Much love. My sister loved this show, says DevSo, but refuses to play The Last of Us, and she likes playing games, so I don't know how to convince her. They can be a little spooky. Maybe ask her if she wants to like watch you play it or something. I had friends that didn't want to play it themselves, but they watched me play it way back in the day, so I could see that. In the audio tapes you can collect that they tried to make, you find out they tried to make a vaccine before on a couple other people and all of them failed. Yeah, they had tried to do stuff before, but Ellie was a very special case because she stood out in like every way beyond those people. She had like full immunity. I think they imply that those other people did not have the same thing that she had. I'd have to go back and check. It's been a while. But yeah, I know what you're referring to. And Mulamba, I go to school for game design. First time chatter, by the way. Thank you. I go to school for game design, and you are brought up quite a bit as someone to look up to as a design/production skeptic. You are super motivating. Me and 6 other friends are making a game and started an LLC. Oh, that's tremendous, my friend. That's great. Good luck with it. You're in for a lot of work.
Jackson
Or
M
so I
donated
hear.
$4.99 through Super Chat.
It's a lot. So good luck, my friend. And that's super humbling to hear that it's my stuff is being brought up. That's super cool. No pressure, right? Like Jesus. But let's see. Any also Iconics, thank you for the 200 bits. Thank you. Yeah, but what I'm saying, Hellbound, did they say that I'd have to go back and check the exact tapes, but did they say that those people were also fully immune like Ellie? Because as I recall it, Ellie was the first example that they had of a fully immune person. But did they say that they had other people fully immune? I don't recall exactly how they phrased it. I guess I could pull up the sheet. They didn't know? Okay. It's all semantics, but like the point is Ellie was very exceptional and then it was tough to figure out. So there was a question still of whether it would work, but at least there was a chance. I don't know. But anyway, okay. Continuing on. And what an impact it has been. Sorry again, Jacob, for cutting this together after the fact. You have your work cut out for you, my friend. After winning 5 BAFTAs, 8 Game Awards, and dozens more accolades from various critic groups, with the first entry, Druckmann returned with a formal sequel. They did all the stuff and it was amazing, blah, blah, blah. The story is coming back into the zeitgeist, which if you don't know means like world spirit. So it's kind of like public consciousness is how you can think of it. With The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered coming on January 19th, now optimized for the PS5 console with new visual enhancements, DualSense supports, blah, blah, blah. Think of it like a Criterion Collection release for a video game, Druckmann says, calling it the no return mode, the highlight of these features. That's cool. Yeah, the roguelike survival mode will throw gamers into familiar settings from The Last of Us Part 2 while allowing them to play as notable characters, each one offering a unique skill set. Lev is spotted in the announcement trailer as well. I didn't know that they'd each have their own skill sets. That's cool. So different weapons and abilities, maybe. That's cool. When asked if new characters introduced in The Last of Us world through the HBO series might show up in No Return, such as Melanie Linsky's Kathleen or Jeffrey Pierce's Perry, Druckmann says no, especially given that Perry and Kathleen feature in the Part 1 portion of the story. There's no intention to add them to No Return, which is built around a roster of characters from Part 2 that we're excited to share with fans soon. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, a bunch of behind the scenes material is coming as well. Let's see. Yeah, the lost levels are being added too. Quote, these sequences, like an extended party scene in Jackson that offers more insight into Ellie's life in town, aren't intended to just let you play through an early in-development version without context. Embedded in each one are interactive elements that will offer development commentary from our team about the intention of the level, what was going on in the sequence, and ultimately why it was cut. This is what I'm most excited for. They're adding in sequences that were cut, and they're going to have commentary explaining what works, what doesn't, why they cut it. And sometimes it's just that they weren't able to polish it enough. They didn't have things working quite right. Other times it's a little more complicated than that because they're like, yeah, the pace and the context of the story didn't work very well. So it can be very complicated, but I'm very excited for this. Very.
Eli Peterson donated $4.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Eli.
We just want to know why Joel owed Bill favors and what Joel did to get the coffee in the second game, Tears of Joy.
Yeah, dude, for real. I kind of want to know that too. Maybe that's in one of these cut sequences. I don't know. One sequence that we know was cut, there were apparently scenes and stuff showing Ellie and Kat, her first real relationship that she had. You know, the tattoo on her arm, the famous iconic tattoo, that was apparently given to her by Kat. And there was a sequence where Ellie was interacting with Kat, I think after their breakup, and Dina's there and it's very awkward and tense and everything. So there were like whole elements of that within the game. There was also the sequence cut where Joel and Ellie went to visit Joel's girlfriend that he had that lived outside of Jackson in like a separate area and was independent. And shortly after arriving, there's like a zombie infestation or infected outbreak, whatever. His girlfriend gets bit, and then Joel has to like usher Ellie out, because this is like before she's a full adult. She's still, it's like that sequence when they're hunting and you're learning how to use a sniper rifle. It would be during that sequence or roughly around that time. And so Joel ushers Ellie out, and then you just hear a gunshot after Joel and his girlfriend are talking about what to do after his girlfriend's bit. And so you don't know if Joel shot her to prevent her from turning, if she asked him to, or if she did it herself and he had to like be there with her at that time. You don't know, but all of that stuff was cut because in the case of Joel and his girlfriend, they felt that it kind of removed the focus from where they were in the story at that point. They couldn't find a time to cut to that sequence without it feeling like a diversion of attention. Like, it's Ellie's story in part 2. It's not Joel's story. And that felt like an addition that would only make sense if Joel was the protagonist. So even though it was really useful for the team and for world building and increasing the understanding of the story, they just decided to cut it because it was too much of a diversion. God forbid Joel has humanity. Well, I mean, just think about it. It's like, you know, if you're playing any very lean linear narrative game and then there's a big diversion for like half an hour with a character that's not relevant to the current point in the story, it kills the pace. It doesn't work well. And that's one thing Naughty Dog typically is pretty good at, is that pacing of the story. It's why when they have some slip ups with pacing, that things really get weird with their games. Like Uncharted 4, the last act is really weirdly long, and like the last quarter of the game where you're just swinging through waves and waves of Wraith's men, just massacring them. It's really odd because the story is on a really healthy pace for a while, and then it just hits this wall with just combat encounters for an hour. So normally they're really good at it. And in the Last of Us games, they are really good at it. The Last of Us Part 2 struggles a little bit with it, and I think this would have only made it worse, which is why they cut it, but still. Let's see. A lot of stuff was cut, just like Factions 2. Gameplay of Factions was a part of the original The Last of Us Part 2 leaks. Yeah, I mean, stuff was cut, moved around, shifted. And the thing I've heard from every game developer I've ever spoken to is that the stuff you see at the end of the development process in the final game is probably only like 30%, 25-30% of what was actually built and come up with for the game. Most of the stuff that's created during the process of game development ends up changing fundamentally to the point where it doesn't even look similar, or just being outright cut because it's not working for various reasons. It happens a lot. Zach, thank you for the 10. Keep up the awesome content, my friend, or man. I'm just adding in my friend. I don't know if you consider me a friend. I consider you a friend. Thank you, my friend. If you want a good laugh, look up Alex Jones and 40K Warhammer. I do want a good laugh. I'll Google that. That sounds fun. That does sound entertaining. But yeah, anyway, lots of this stuff was cut. And some of it for good reason. Some of it, maybe we're going to see it and it's going to be like, oh, this is not like they should have kept this. This is way better. Who knows? We'll see what we get. What else do they say? Let's see. Yeah, we have other projects. This is the interesting bit. We have in terms of other Last of Us games, Druckmann says he has quote unquote no update regarding the shelved multiplayer game previously reported. What about the long-rumored Last of Us Part 3? Quote, The Last of Us is obviously a world I love deeply and know our studio and fans do as well, but I have no comment at this time as the series is future beyond our focus on The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. However, he does confirm, quote, we have other projects in the works at Naughty Dog. And of course, season 2 of HBO's Last of Us adaptation, which will adapt the events of Part 2. Druckmann insists the development of Part 2 Remastered and Season 2 of the show is just serendipitous, Quote, I remember going into the studio to record commentary tracks for a handful of cinematics, then in the afternoon meeting with Craig to break season 2's story, which was often based on the same sequences and moments. He recalls, so the process of working on the remaster happened to double as research refresher for me on the intricacies of the story, along with why we made certain decisions, which is super cool. The Emmy-nominated TV drama is prepping to start filming early next year as part of a planned 2025 premiere. Apparently, this has mostly been delayed because Pedro Pascal's schedule is just built out. Like, they've really struggled to figure out when to start filming because his schedule is so busy, which is funny. Yeah, so that means that a new audience will get to experience the twists and turns of The Last of Us Part 2 in a different way entirely. Hopefully, they'll be less intense than the gamers were. Yeah, we'll see. I think they will be. I think the TV audience and the HBO audience is much more forgiving than the gamers will be. While Druckmann can't confirm whether or not some of those twists will be directly adapted for season 2 and beyond, he says, quote, I tend to focus on what we can control. Is the storytelling up to our standards versus things we can't control, which is the audience's reaction. With the show's popularity, I'm sure we'll get the gamut of emotional responses. It'll be fun seeing people's response to the story, either for the first time or for the second time in another medium. Yeah, I'm very excited to see how they do it. I'm mostly interested in how they handle like flashbacks. Because you better believe they're not just using Pedro for one episode and that's it. I think that they're going to have a lot more flashbacks than even in the game. And I'm very interested in seeing how those work. It's going to be very compelling. I'm excited. But all of this to say, I mean, again, like we said at the top, I think Neil Druckmann just is not saying if he can help it. He just will not talk about a potential piece of information if he can help it. Which again, I understand it. I wouldn't want to be the one to leak information that you're not supposed to. An iconic NZ, thank you for another 10. Thank you, my friend. Truth be told, I feel like that's a common weakness of linear games. Don't get me wrong, the stories will be more impactful, but this inherently risks alienating the player via gameplay vis-a-vis The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, I mean, it is a balancing act, and it is not easy. I mean, obviously, that's why a lot of companies try this
NC donated
and fail.
$10 through Super Chat.
So it's, I think something that makes video games very powerful, which is that the interactivity can really complement a story where there's certain things where like, you know what? It's well after the fact now. I think I can show you. Well, no, because it's great. Is there anybody in chat who's going to be triggered if I show you a spoiler for It Takes Two, the game of the year from 2021? Are people going to be upset if I show something? I like how the only person who says yes is sarcasm. No, nope. I guess trigger warning for anybody really concerned. Just be ready. Okay. So this whole sequence is such an acid trip, dude. It's so great. Okay, let me go full screen here. Pull it over. Okay, so in the context of this scene, basically what's going on is that the two characters have decided the only way they can be turned back into people is if they get their child's whose tears cause them to turn into puppets. They think the only way they think they can get turned back into humans is if they get their daughter to cry again, and then they'll be turned back into people. So they decide the way they're going to do this is by killing their child's favorite toy, and that will make the child cry and then cause them to return to the human realm. And so this is something they could have shown in like a cutscene, but instead the developers decided to make this interactive. And so you have to do it. So like she gets trapped outside the vending machine. You have to button mash and like rip off her leg.
No, we gotta get her to the edge of the bookshelf.
Cat's on the other side. Come on, grab her.
And so they make you. You're scaring me. They make you drag a cutesy elephant. Dude. Oh no, then she crawls away. They really make it tough.
I feel so evil.
Oh, me too. I'll need therapy after this.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we could ask that book.
You crazy? We need to see a professional after this.
Then she grabs on. It gets worse. Yep.
I think she's tricking us. Pull me!
Oh man, it's so tough. It's so tough. Like,
Oh, it wasn't a trick.
it wasn't a trick. Oh no.
We're really sorry for this.
And then you have to push her off.
Don't tell us that.
Don't tell us that. Like, this sequence in a cutscene would have been like, oh, that's kind of funny. But to make the player actually do it themselves is so much more intense and memorable because you're the one that has to do that horrible thing, you know? And it's very similar in The Last of Us Part 2. There are sequences that are very tough where Abby or Ellie is doing something pretty horrible and you have to do it. Like, you have to. Some people just refuse to. Like, I was talking to one person. Funnily enough, they don't have a problem like killing people in video games, but if they have to kill like a dog in a game, which in The Last of Us Part 2, there's dogs that like patrol with like a humanoid and they can help like detect you. And so if you're not doing like a killless stealth run, you have to kill the dog too. And like the guard dogs. And this person could not finish The Last of Us Part 2 because they would have to kill dogs in the game, which I always thought that was interesting. I was like, so you have no problem killing people, but you can kill a dog? Like, okay, that's interesting. I know they would say like the dog didn't do anything wrong, but in some of these cases, like the people didn't do anything wrong either. It's just Ellie killing somebody, like just massacring. So it's not always that simple, but the point is with all of this, interactivity can elevate a story and make it more impactful, more memorable, and even more difficult to engage with sometimes, because at least if it's a cutscene, you just kind of sit there and take it. When they make you participate, it's another level of immersion because you're the one that's actually doing it. And it's one of the powers of games as a narrative medium. And it can also be a weakness because sometimes players just will not connect with it. Like they'll refuse to engage with it if it's something they don't want to do. Or in the case of, what game was that where, oh man, I'm trying to think of what it was. Well, I mean, I guess there's The Last of Us Part 2 is another great example. I won't be too specific, but like there's a sequence at the end of the game where the player is tasked with doing something they really probably don't want to do, especially if the last 15 hours of gameplay has not convinced them that this is all a matter of perspective and maybe the good guys are not the good guys, right? But some people just refused to finish the game once they got to that point. They just refused to continue playing because they didn't want to be forced to do that. And that in some ways you could say is like, oh, it's a meta play on the player doesn't want to participate in the evil. And so it's actually the story working really well. It's not actually a problem. So you shouldn't be upset about that. It's actually the game working properly that they don't want to do it. I would say it's still a problem because like, it's a video game. You should want your players to finish the video game, but still, you know, it's very interesting. Yeah, in The Last of Us Part 2, when you kill a person, their friends will call out their name. That's chilling. Yeah, the AI in The Last of Us Part 2 is great. Straight up, every one of the NPCs you fight has a name, and if they're in a group and one of the friends finds the body of one of their other friends, they'll be like, oh my God, Becky! John, Becky's dead! Over here! And like, they're like crying because they just watched their friend get blown up with an explosive error. It's crazy. In your honest opinion, Luke, do you like The Last of Us duology or the Norse God of War duology more? I think as like an art piece, if we're talking about like high art, what made me feel more? Probably The Last of Us. But if I'm talking about like video games, what's something I would replay for fun? Without a doubt, God of War. God of War Ragnarok is so freaking good and so epic in so many ways. Like, it's just not even close. The Last of Us Part 2 is very good, but it is an emotional trudge. Like, the best way I could phrase it, and it's something a lot of reviewers said, they were like, when I finished The Last of Us Part 2, I was glad it was over. I'm still glad I played it, but this is a game I will need a break from for a good long while. And that's very true. After I finished The Last of Us Part 2, I had to put it down. I was like, I need a break because it is emotionally exhausting. Because it's one of those films or one of those games, like a lot of films or TV shows, where it's just one horrible thing after another, after another, after another, and it just gets more and more difficult. Yeah, it's exactly, Ziggy. It's just exhausting. Yeah. God of War Ragnarok left a sour taste in my mouth. The Ragnarok part was underwhelming and so short and small. There seemed to be a lack of skill than I expected. I agree, Proto. I thought the scale and scope was more limited than I was expecting, but mostly in Asgard. Like, I thought Asgard was really underwhelming. Like, this huge, massive wall, you spend all this time climbing up and then you see it and it's like, oh, it's like a village. Like a small village, you know. It was just like, So I agree with you there. I thought that didn't click with me quite right, but okay. Let's see this. I don't know which of these you're referring to. Maybe this one. Grey Knights seeing World Eaters. If you don't know, Grey Knights are like goody two shoes Imperium guys, and then World Eaters are like horrifying demon monsters. So this is him as a Grey Knight, I guess.
I see you, enemy. I see you, enemy. 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 You are my enemy. And I swear total resistance to you with everything I've got. Disingenuous, fake, false, broke back, twisted, a defiler, a betrayer, a backstabber, a devil. You will pay. Yeah, you think I don't see your face, scum? You don't think I don't see you? I see you. You understand me?
This is a real human being.
I see you right back. You understand that? You understand that? You will fall.
How does he even make that sound?
God is going to destroy you.
I don't even know how he makes those sounds. It's just amazing to me.
Where do you think the contact with the aliens came from? When did that start?
You know, I'm not going to get into it.
I need to hear about aliens.
I know you already know all this, Joe.
Hold on a second.
It's always...
But I want to ask you this because I don't know.
Oh, yeah, right. We're in contact with aliens.
Like what kind of shit?
Here's what's happening, because it's not just one group of aliens.
What's the different groups?
The big five.
Okay, tell me what's going on.
Let me begin. This is really, I'm telling you, Joe, this is a real deal.
We're listening to you.
Well, first off, elves is the main group.
Okay.
And they call them the elves. It's the clockwork elves.
I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore.
There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are.
Damn.
They're bad aliens.
I'm with you.
AI is alien.
Like a robot?
Yeah, they're like robots coming to kill you.
Jesus Christ.
The chimeras are alien.
And there's a hive mind sort of thinking to a lot of this.
They want the organs. I swear on my kids I told you the truth about that.
I believe you. I believe you.
They're coming after everybody.
Jeez.
It's a breakaway civilization, dude. We don't know what they've got. Joe, they're control freaks.
Well,
You're not
everybody's a
That's why I'm
control
so
freak.
glad you're in the fight now. These guys are on stuff that like nobody even knows.
What do you think they're on?
Stuff they've been given.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
There's like armed guys with machine guns.
That is a group of people that were obsessed with combat.
About the most fearless killers there are.
Do you think that's from their heritage of war?
I mean, it's just like, it's mental illness, man.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Those are all pretty good. This is the one I saw too. This was pretty good. Just Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines.
I'm concerned, this Saturday night, there's not even gonna be a fight.
I will torture his body so that his soul learns to be humble.
I'm gonna knock him out round one, bitch.
God chose me for this fight. God is the teacher. Derek is the student.
Wait. What did he say again? He said God chose him.
God's lessons are so beautiful.
God's lessons are beautiful. I'm sorry, who put this fight together? This is just, well, I don't, if y'all got an actual crazy person for me to fight, well, that's not fair to me. Or him. I'm sorry, is this crazy?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot of these parodies. I wasn't even aware. There's a lot of these. Wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Do you guys want to see my orcs? I have orcs. There's some. Yeah, some of these guys are good. There's like this guy. Focus, damn you. Mozrock. There's some like big boys. These guys are fun. This guy has like a little shotgun. There's some good ones. If you haven't played 40K, you should try it. It's good fun. It's good fun, I'll tell you what. One of my favorite Key and Peele sketches. Dude, every like 2 years I go back through and I just need to catch up on Key and Peele. Because it's such feel-good stuff. Oh, it just makes me happy. It just makes me happy, I'll tell you what. You see my bait on your avatar vid? I don't think so. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I said that you've sold your soul to avatars, so you're saying positive things and people started agreeing. Oh, really? It is funny. Like if you say anything positive about any Ubisoft anything, people are like, even if you pair it with a lot of critiques, people go, oh, bought and paid for. Yep. Oh, geez. And like, to be clear, I said like the density of the forests are crazy. It's clear this isn't just a movie cash grab. And I think the Far Cry comparisons are overblown and very reductive. Like that's what I said. And people are like, well, Luke's bought and paid for. Oh, well. Oh, well. It was fun while it lasted. It was like, bro. Yeah, and I like made fun of them for the interview that they did too. Because I was like, they couldn't even like speak honestly about just a cool moment in development. In case you guys didn't see the video, I said, I asked the guy, the game director, I asked him, what's like the moment that everything clicked for you? When you said, I see the game coming together now. I see the vision. It's working. And I was expecting him to be like when this piece of music came in, or once we got the first piece of concept art, like that's when it clicked. I was expecting something like that. He wasn't even allowed to say that. Instead, the PR guy in the background, like standing opposite of me, outside of frame, just starts going like this to try and be like, talk about the Ecron. Talk about the Ecron. Because that's like part of their big marketing push is that you can fly the Ecron and or the Banshee, whatever you want to call it. And it's just, I was like, why are we doing these interviews if they just have to stick word for word to what you're telling him he can say? Like, it's stupid. But yeah, I'm bought and paid for by my cats. Yeah. I'm like, if I was bought and paid for, like For one, I would have to legally disclose it. And two, like, why would I be bought and paid for only halfway, where I say like some good things and some bad things too? Like, that's not a very good bought and paid for system if they're only half complimenting your stuff. You know, like what? It just doesn't make sense. The graphics and art direction for Frontiers Pandora don't look that good to me, TBH. I will say, like, some of the B-roll that they've released, I think is maybe on console. I'm not exactly sure. Some of it's PC, but you'll, I think, see once the game comes out, people running it with like 4090s and 4070s and stuff. And you're going to see some very, very cool stuff. Because when the game runs on really high-end hardware, like we had, I think, at the preview event, it looks freakishly good. Just the density of the foliage. So, I mean, it can look very, very good. But as for whether that makes the game as a whole really good is something you have to wonder, you know. What lunch did they feed you? How good does Ubisoft eat? Oh, dude, I didn't talk about it in the video, but the catering service they hired, they had like smoked salmon, like, and everything was themed. So like for breakfast when we showed up, they had like these blue donuts. And then they were amazing. They're like handmade massive donuts. They were delicious. And then there was like these pastries. They kind of looked like those apple pies you get at like McDonald's or something. But they were also handmade pastries. And inside was like this blueberry blue filling that was awesome. Like, it was very good. Ubisoft eats well. They eat well. What platform did you play the game at? They didn't tell me. And I know that's surprising. Like, how did they not tell you? Well, they gave us a controller to use, like a DualSense controller for the haptic feedback, which was very good. The haptics were great. But I don't know if it was a PS5 or a PC. And they were not apparently allowed to say. And, you know, of course, they have everything hidden underneath like a cabinet so you can't see it. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. But, yeah, Ubisoft could only afford 50% of the video. Yeah, exactly. It's just funny. Why wouldn't they be allowed to say? Just because I think, like, it's just not what they want you talking about. Like, they want you talking about the game. They want you talking about the interview you did and the panel and stuff. They don't want you going on for minutes about the setup that they had for you to play. Like talk about the game, not the setup for the game. Talk about the game. You know? There's a lot of stuff like that where they're just like, if they don't really think it's important to be talked about, they're just like, please just don't talk about that. Like, it's just not important. And I think that's fair. I mean, if they are flying me out to go play their game and they're like, hey, can you just like not complain about like the controller we gave you and only talk about the game? I'd be like, yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah. So, by the way, are you going to be live on Tuesday at 9 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern for GTA 6? I think so. I think it'll be fun. I'll tell Nikki and I'll prep her. But I might wake up early because for me that's 7 a.m. So, do I want to wake up at like 6, get ready, and then come down? I think it'd be fun. It's been a while since I got up early for work, you know? So I think it'd be fun. It's literally GTA 6. That's what I'm saying. But the other piece of it, though, is that Rockstar is like one of 2 studios that copyright claims their own stuff, like trailers. So like if I did a full reaction, if we played Red Dead Redemption 2, and like the trailer, specifically we played the trailer for Red Dead 2, the stream will get taken down. So I'm not sure if we could even do a reaction to the trailer. I think they might shut down the stream before it even is over. Like, I don't know. We tried to watch an Apple event one time months ago, and they struck that down when they were announcing the Vision Pro headset, and they struck that down. We couldn't finish the event. So we could try. Worst case scenario, it gets taken down, and it's like, okay, well, that was worth a shot. You better believe we're not going to be the only streamers trying to watch it, right? Like, everybody is going to be trying to watch it on stream, so I'd be down. I feel like that's such a bad PR move to not let people react to it. That's kind of what I think. But who knows? Maybe in the last 5 years they've learned and they won't do that. The one reason I think we could get away with it on the day is just because it's not out there yet. So this will be the first time it's revealed. And then probably after it's up, they'll start striking stuff that has it. But I think while we're watching it live, it'll probably be okay. Why wouldn't they want free advertisement? Because they don't need it. I mean, it's Rockstar. Like, they're one of the few companies where they can do literally whatever the hell they want to do. Berta Gerbert, what do you think about Cyberpunk 2.1? I think it looks great. We'll try it on the 5th. We'll try it. So maybe we'll do that. We'll watch the trailer on Tuesday, and then we'll also then try Cyberpunk. Maybe we'll do that. That can work. But okay, everybody. I think we'll call it there. My voice is starting to get a little frilly, so I don't want to push it too much because we're still recovering. So I think we'll call it there. This has been a wonderful, wonderful stream. I've loved every minute of it. You guys were incredibly generous. I don't know what I did. Maybe it's the cats or the Christmas tree over there. I don't know. But you guys were incredibly generous. I'm humbled by that. Thank you dearly. Tons of new subs, lots of super chats and tips and donations and stuff. You guys are ridiculous. And I am truly, truly thankful. Never think I take it for granted. We'll be back on Monday. I will have a video going up on the main channel tomorrow. I need to clean this. See that? Does your mouse pad do this? This is a wake-up call. This means I need to clean it. Oh God. So that's so gross. So I will be back Monday for another big stream, and then Tuesday we get GTA 6, baby, and main video on the channel going up tomorrow. So buckle up, buckaroo. Much love, everybody. Stay safe. I love you dearly. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you very, very soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.
Shout out to the chess club.